Good morning, good evening, and good night, citizens. Welcome to the Inforunners. I'm Execute, joined today by Algared. How you doing, mate?
Very, very.
Oh,
Didn't really sleep last night, so.
You gonna get closer to your mic, man? You dropped off there a little bit, bro. Just a little bit.
No, I think it was my YouTube didn't have the sound muted, so you suddenly got this booming.
All right, we'll try and wake you up this morning if we can. Yeah, we've got the. Sorry.
Star Citizen ads. How many are you seeing lately? I'm seeing dozens.
Really? I don't see many. But we're seeing the 2020. What I titled the 2024 Mega 2023 sale, or as CIG have put it. Let's flick it over. What have they called it? They've called it "In Case You Missed It." So we'll go through this at some point in a little bit. But
or as you pointed out, we don't have Inside Star Citizen, so what can we do?
That's what it feels like, doesn't it? There's like, yeah, oh shit, we were meant to record this show that we forgot. Oh, here, have some chips. You know, like that's just how it feels. Well, at least for me, it did anyway. So yeah. Right, I gotta get the bot and stuff done real quick.
Not that we've got any. I haven't seen any questions on YouTube yet, so that means we can finish off, which is great because I can go.
Is that the secret, Agate? I just don't ever turn the bot on, so there's no questions, and we just end. Is that what we do when we're feeling really lazy one day? I think that's what we save that one in about our back pocket. I think for that day when we want to have one.
Yeah, I have to think about that one.
Yeah. All right, let's get this bot going. Right. Yeah, I was hoping that we'd be back at you know, we would have something this week, but unfortunately not to be had. So
yeah,
hopefully next week. I was really kind of surprised. Right.
Okay, so the bot has started. You can finish.
Hang on. No, it's.
Oh, damn it!
It's not. No, I think I think I might have started it too early. Hang on.
Yep. Kevin's question didn't show up, or it's lagging.
Cannot respond. All right, so we're having an issue. This will be a first if we don't get the bot working.
Yeah, I haven't seen anything on Lunar New Year either, Kragan.
Yep, cool. She's working now. Awesome. Just gave her a restart. Slap. She's working. Right. So get your questions in when you want. As usual, once the stream is out of questions, we end. But Algared, in over a year of us doing this, has it ever ended early? No, it just does not. You guys keep us here shackled and chained.
No, yeah. Even though we'll turn off the bot 30 minutes beforehand, we still get 30 minutes over. So
yeah.
And that's even when we're finishing early.
So maybe it wasn't meant to go this week, but traditionally speaking, they usually get back to work in early January. Maybe Jared takes a bigger break, but yeah, okay. Well, hopefully it's next week then. But yeah, do you want to have a look through this sale first then, Algared? I think that's probably where we should start while we wait for some questions to come in, or well, actually, we can start with the first one on Shenpaster, who says, "Question: There is no LTI." Yeah, are you surprised? I'm not. That's the first thing I said to Algared. I bet you there's no LTI because it's only when there's a new ship. So essentially, what I'm hearing from this sale is it's a great time to buy CCUs that you missed. That's what I'm hearing, Algared. Are you hearing any different from?
No. If none of those ships have LTI, the fact that they will be or should be available as CCU tokens because they're available in the shop.
Yeah.
Why would you buy a ship with no LTI if you can get a CCU and apply an LTI token? That's insane. I keep saying CIG just wouldn't give LTI to every ship purchase with cash or credits. Just do it.
It's time to move past the FOMO. Yeah.
Just get over it.
Right.
It's not going to change your sale point. People are just going to buy ships all year.
Yep.
And they'll still buy ships when they come out.
And I bet you any money you could almost look at the people that are buying them, and it's, I'm going to be honest, it's whales, right? That there is a certain subset of people that are, you know, at a higher point of people, and then you'd probably get these people in the middle, and then you get all these people down the bottom that are just buying a starter ship. I reckon it's something completely like that. So redoing the sales, why don't you encourage them? Well, maybe because they want them to. I got no idea, but yeah, you know what I mean. Like they want them to buy multiples of, you know, we'll switch it around.
If you want to encourage people to buy ships, give LTI for crying out loud.
The
Let's do it.
Yeah, the digital assets, one day, guess what? They're going to be worth nothing. When they finally turn the game off, they are worth nothing. That's the crazy thing about all this. So, yeah, you should be giving everyone the best value for money you absolutely can, in my book. Right, let's start at the start, Algared. A1 Bomber. I think this is overpriced for what it is. I think the Spirit series is kind of, for me, especially right now, is the C1 Spirit. But I can totally see in the future the E1 coming around. What about you? Just in short, if we're gonna do this quick because we've got a lot of ships to go through.
I'm not really a person who likes the bombers, so
yeah, and it's I don't know. I know it's for a certain set of people, and I don't reckon when base building gets shields and that coming in, I think then we'll see this will get a renaissance. So it's the cup for the horse thing again for me for that one. The Arrastra. Now I've been playing Eco again this week, so I've been toiling on the Arrastras a lot, doing mining this week. So I know a lot of people disagree with me, Algared, on the coolness of this ship, but the fact that it's 6 times smaller than the Orion, you can go line it up against the Orion, and at one point it was the same price. There's 11.5% difference when they're at their normal prices that they are now. 11.5% difference in price. 6 times more ship for 11.5%. Was it 11.7? I don't know. I worked it out. But let's just say 12% for argument, right? 12% different in size. Why the hell would you buy this when it's 6 times smaller? So,
yeah.
We're talking value, and I'm only talking value here, right? And if anything came out of that episode we did on the weekend, you would have seen our favorite ships, and they don't talk value. So we're talking pure value here, guys. You got to separate heart from head type of thing. Pure value. This is clearly a heart thing. People love this ship from the heart of it, you know. But on value,
this ship over in Orion is crew count.
Yep.
Is the fact that you say, I know I'm not going to be wanting to go
to 8,
in that bigger ship. That's the only reason I can see going a smaller ship. You know, I don't want to fly a Javelin. I don't want to have a Javelin. I'm never going to play with 80 people. I'm not going to, you know.
Yeah.
So I'll go the next ship down. I'll go the biggest ship that I want. That's kind of a reasoning I can see. But
the one that came back a lot in the comments that I was reading was the crew, not the crew count, but the ability that this can go down to ground, and that the Orion can't. And I don't see that as a complete negative because you're just chewing so much more stuff. It doesn't matter. You're literally eating entire asteroids. So I don't know. I think you got to have little, you know, negativities. So yeah. Oh, hey, Starlet. Nice to see you.
The big bonus of the Arrastra is it is the crossover ship. It's a crossover between the Prospectors, which are real, you know, I think really geared for planetary exploration. Or prospecting a minefield for find bigger stuff for the bigger ships. And
don't get me wrong, Algared. Both you and I are going to own an Arrastra at some point. We'll just earn down to it. Well, you probably already own 3, but you know me. I will earn down to it and have an Arrastra as well. So then, you know, but talking value. Hey, Grim. Nice to see you, buddy. Who else we got there? First time chatter. Awakening Death says, wish I had the badge to purchase the F8C. Do you still need the badge to buy it? Are you serious? We'll get to that. Are you serious? You actually need the badge to buy it? I thought you could just buy it outright. Wow. Yeah, we need to catch up, Grim. I think we haven't caught up since just before IS.
No, we're going to fix my fleet after Christmas.
Yeah.
I know, that was Chris, not Grim.
It's lootable now. All right, we'll have a look. So yeah, you can loot and you can actually get the token to buy the F8C, but that's a bit annoying. You think they'll just let people buy it, but anyway. All right, moving on. Next one, the Spirit. Yeah, I think this is where it's at, Algared. It's really came in and run straight up against the Cutlass, and I think it gives people that are not into the combat variant a little bit of leeway now, where what the Freelancer didn't do, and hopefully when the Freelancer gets a rework at some point, it'll be more tangible. But I don't know, love it or hate it. Looks like the shuttle. I think, you know, what else can we say about it?
Fallout's got a shuttle, but it doesn't quite do it. But I will say one thing I do like about the Spirits is that continual corridor actually has a purpose because that's where they put the components.
Yeah.
So at least it gives that sense of
Mm.
So never-ending corridors actually have a reason, and it's your engineering area. It's weird, but yeah.
It'd definitely be up there now for one of those ships that I recommend. If people have got the money, like you know how that progression to a Cutlass, I can now go. You've now got options, and it's the same thing with the cutter when it came in. You've now got more options. It was before it was this very methodical jump line, and now it's which way do I go? Yeah. So yeah,
and you take your pick. So yeah.
Right, the Rambler. I am, if anyone knows me very well, I'm very disappointed with how this turned out. I think it does speak to a set of people, and I actually, there's a couple of people I should go ask. Like, I should go ask people like Stim Citizen and Griffin Gaming and stuff like that, because it's essentially a Drake touring vessel, and does. Well, I know Griffin, for example, he's really into roleplay. Can he get into a role play that's not Origin, as an example? And I reckon, knowing Griff, I reckon he can. I don't know, Algared, do you think this speaks to a different set of role players? Is that kind of where they're going with this?
Yeah, who knows? Maybe it's the touring vehicle you take in those dangerous areas, where you don't want to risk your luxury ship.
Yeah.
But then, the other side is those luxury ships tend to be faster, so they can run away.
I think the other part of it is that it's kind of like the most expensive starter in the cutter and the cheapest advanced starter in the cutter Rambler. I think that's kind of what they've done there.
That kind of gives you an indication of where we're at. But yeah, I still worry over the Rambler. Just to me, it's not really making sense. But that's okay. It just says that doesn't really talk to me.
Yeah, I think it was very much an LTI token.
Yeah, well, that's generally what it was, an LTI token if you needed one. Unfortunately, not with LTI in this sale, so what's the point?
Yeah.
Anyway, next one.
Yep. The Scout. I think we can just say waiting gameplay, and that would cover that one, yeah? Unless you want to add to that.
Yep.
Yeah. I think this will get a bit of a renaissance maybe this year even, so we'll see.
I think any of the Scouts will get that once they get once we get the scanning and stuff really working and advanced. And
what's it offering me? I'm just having a look to see if I can buy it. This paint's extra options are currently unavailable. The ship pack options is currently not available. So okay, so I need to go get another token then. Okay, interesting. The Fury. All right, and can we bundle all three of these, Algared? Yes, we can.
Yep.
Right, so I'm gonna say I think the racing one is where kind of it's at for me at the moment in the now. I think this ship needs a mothership, and I think I don't know, Algared, what's your take on it? I'd like you to get your opinion.
Yeah, look, it's a TIE fighter.
Yeah.
That's enough said.
Yeah, it just doesn't do enough right now, but it tells me there's something kind of missing, but we'll see.
It's a TIE fighter, and if there was any ship it's close to, it almost feels like it's close to Mustang, because you had the Mustang, Alpha with its guns, you had the Delta with its missiles, had the, that's kind of what it feels like.
Well, to put it this way, that's $50, and these are all $55. That's all you need to look at, right? It is the most expensive, overpriced thing in the entire game. It should have been, I think you and I worked out it had to be like $35, didn't we?
Yeah.
Or something like that. Yeah.
It should be a price of a P-52, P-72, not a ship with a quantum drive and jump drive. That's nuts.
So, yeah, it's kind of crazy. Right, the Hull C. I think this is the middle road of cargo. There's a reason why in lore it's the most common ship in the game, so to speak. I think it will be a sweet spot for a lot of people. I do think this ship did speak to a lot of people. I heard a lot of things that effect, didn't you?
This didn't make my list of those top 5 ships, but this is the game, one of those ships that said this is not a pew-pew game. It was one of those ships that, those ships that I generally picked, and ships like this and the BMN, they drew me into Star Citizen. They said, this is going to be a game that encompasses everything, not just one facet. And that's what sucked me in.
Yeah, so
Chris Roberts.
Yeah, so my plan now is to say, like, if you're talking about earn down economy again, is something like a Banner Merchantman and earn down to these. So that's my plan if I do cargo. So yeah,
especially when you have to Banner Merchantman up to 350.
Yeah, yeah. And there's still a lot of people out there with cheap
There's
ones.
still a lot of people out there who have got access to or have got those ships. So
I'd put this under the same tag as the Fury. Do you think any different? Or, you know, get a Phoenix, get one for free type of thing. I just don't see the utility of it.
Yeah, if you really want a Lynx, get a Phoenix.
Yeah. Actually, I'd almost say get an Ursa too. If you want a rover, get an Ursa at the moment. Because knowing, how do I put this? If I had a Phoenix, I'd still rather take the Ursa than this. That's for now.
So,
but you and
what
I
you're really saying is buy an Aquila.
pretty much.
Buy an Aquila. Get an Ursa and a P-52.
If people saw my thoughts on ships that we thought need fixing, the Luna Maria video that we did, I think the Phoenix needs to be separated out, and I still think that, and I think this would be better suited on a different ship. Yeah, the Phoenix has major issues, and it needs the Buccaneer treatment, in my book. Long story short, so split it off, give people another option to $0 CCU sideways or something like that, and make a whole new RSI ship that. You know, and that ironically really works with the name Phoenix, rising from the ashes, does it not?
Yeah, look, I could see. While I'd hate to see that happen because I like that iconic feature and all the rest of it, there's an element where it makes sense because there are things that are still waiting for the Phoenix that we don't. There's no. When you look at it, there's not really a place where you can put that third turret, and so. What if they do? Do they either just kill that third turret and replace one of the man turrets? Do they slap it on somewhere and change some other function?
Yeah.
There's
I have thought of other ones too, right? Just to float them by. I haven't told Algared about these, right? So I've thought of things like, what about the Freelancer Max treatment? So it grows sideways or something like that, you know? Not just.
Well, it already did grow sideways. It got fat.
You know what I mean? And so maybe it's something like instead of 4 engines at the back, it's got 6 or something like that, you know, like drastic changes to it, where it's almost a completely different ship because they gave it a massive overhaul, but it just happens to have the same front, essentially. It needs something. It needs, I don't know what they're going to do. I'm sure at some point when they come back around to it, it needs something drastic, and I think every person I've talked to is just not happy with how that ship sits more than almost any other constellation, and I think it just needs some love. Some love.
I think a lot of the frustration with the Phoenix is the fact that it's supposed to have more size 2 missiles than any other constellation. It has none.
Yeah, and people
it's all of those types of things. That's.
Yeah, people in chat are saying the same thing. Like it just does not fit luxury and stuff like that. And I'd love there to be some competitor. Me and Algared have talked about this as well off stream. Like competitors to every manufacturer. Like I want a Drake-esque, you know, like to bleed into someone else. I want an Origin to bleed into someone else. So like if it bleeds into RSI, then I want to see. What would you expect? 2 to 3 ships that are in the vein of Origin, but from someone else. Like and we talked about this. I could see one from Mirai or Misk that is from them.
I could really see Mirai and Misk.
Yeah.
Probably more Mirai because
you know that
Misk is their heavy industry side.
Yeah. So where that came. So where that came from was, you know how you get that Japanese luxury. They have that real clean aesthetic look, and Misk and Mirai are that. So that's why we were thinking. But then by the same token, you can go into RSI. So it'd be kind of cool just to have this little overlap on all the manufacturers. So yeah, I think it'd be really cool.
I could easily see Mirai doing that with, you know, the Misk, and that enables Misk to stay with heavy industry.
Yeah,
and then everything else gets shifted into that, you know, the high quality, the high luxury, the high performance. That all goes into Mirai, and so same company, it's just different branding.
Grim's just saying apparently F8 CIG has announced that the gold tickets are back in the loot pool. So if you do want to get the F8C, you have to go into game and do the mini game again and do that.
Well, it may actually be cheap. It may actually be easy to get a gold ticket. Or was it
platinum? I don't know, Algared. You know what I'm going to say on Ship Valley. You and I talk about this all the time.
It's harder.
Redeemer, Caterpillar. There's a whole bunch of them around that price range. Starfarer, Banu Merchantman at one point. Like the list of ships that are close to this is kind of ridiculous. And yes, it is the biggest fighter in the game, but again, there's a reason why it's called Sell Your Fighters, is it not? Because they just don't hold the value. So if you really want this, we're never going to stop you. But we don't even stop ourselves, do we? I think we kind of proved that with last week's episode. But it's to give you a head versus heart comparison, right? And it's very hard to rein yourself in somewhat. And that's what we're trying to do here. So,
and as I say,
yeah,
I suppose where we differ slightly on our buy big and go down is I'll say just go as big as you feel comfortable that you can go with and earn down, whereas you'd say just get big.
Well, no. I'll say go as big as you're comfortable, but in most cases,
we're exactly the same. It's just that
I just think most people you can. Put it this way, rather than get
through.
So if you're comfortable getting 2 medium ships, my argument would be, well, don't get 2 mediums, get one large. That would be my argument, right? Because essentially using the 1 large, you can still get the 2 mediums. That's my point. It depends on everyone's situation. This is why we do fix my fleet too, Algared. So,
that's why our choices are sometimes our choices I find will say exactly the same thing, and yet our rationale comes from different.
Yeah, but that's how you know you're on the money when it works across multiple things. So yeah. Right.
Anyway,
SRV. For me, this is leaning into the Crucible. Again, it's much cheaper than the Crucible, but you've also got
a poor man's Crucible.
Well, you've also got the Vulcan still to come, and me and Algared would argue that there's probably still another one possibly between the Crucible and the
tow truck. Roadside assist.
Vulcan, sorry. I brain farted there for a second. But I'm enjoying this in game. I had a lot of fun with it. I think it really kind of shows what tracked beams can do, and I don't know. What's your thoughts on it, Algared? Have you played with it much?
No, when I get in, I usually just play with ships that I enjoy flying.
Hero Javelin on Twitch says, Inforunners, happy Thursday to you all. What he doesn't know, Algared, is you and I are from the future, and it's actually Friday.
That's right.
Welcome to yesterday. There we go. How about that? Welcome to yesterday. Where we're from today. Anyway, if we started saying that, but we just get used to it. One thing I think any other content creator, I know Starlet and Grim would agree with me on this, is the time conversion is an absolute bitch. You need to have apps out aplenty to convert times. And the number one reason why we miss shows with other people is things like daylight savings and bad time conversion. It is the number, it's like, oh, I was waiting for an hour and you never turned up. And I go, oh, I arrived as you left. And things like that.
Yeah, especially when you get that, there's that small period where Australia goes forward and a couple of weeks later America goes back, and so there's this very short period where the time difference 4 hours or 5 hours, and another time it's 6 hours, and it's Anyway,
all right,
problems.
Santoki, my biggest issue with this ship is the guns that it comes with. It's almost a bit like with the Redeemer and the Ballistics. It just does not work for that ship. And it's the same thing here. I've used it a few times, and maybe they'll change it in the future, or maybe they've already changed it since you and I reviewed it, but it just fired so fast that it became a management problem, because if you just fire full bore, you run out of charge. And it became really annoying to manage, to the point that I would take them off and put just normal badges on, and it fixed the entire issue. But that's annoying. Why bring these new guns into the game if they don't work for the ship that they come in on? And I just found that really weird.
If you take them off your ship using a tractor beam and put them on other ships, sometimes you don't even get that recharge.
Yeah, and I don't think they're buyable in game yet. Maybe they will be down the line. But yeah. But I reckon there's a couple I haven't tested it, but you're right. You could probably track them, and maybe someone in chat can let us know. But track the beams and putting them on other ships. There's a video in there for someone, just to let you know what ships are they. Oh, it has been? You've seen one?
It has been done. I've seen it.
Okay.
It has been done.
Link it to me later, please, and I'll check it out myself.
Well, I saw it in game.
You saw it firsthand. Right, okay.
One of the people, and they showed me. or they shared their stream as they were just, they were talking, they shared their stream. But yeah, they have been done. People have taken them off, put them on another ship.
Now, I deliberately picked this one for the thumbnail today. If I flick back real quick, you can...
That looks cool.
Because it looks cool. But it did get a buff recently. They've now made it so that you can... something that you can do. It's not just I press the button. I think you also control the missiles now or something like that. Someone in chat will correct me. I haven't touched it for a while. But, for me, it wasn't a bad ship solo either. But again... I'd be encouraging people, if you're into the Scorpius, to upgrade from this to the Scorpius eventually. I think that's just going to be where it's at. But again, I think the Scorpius is overpriced too compared to, say, something like the Hurricane. I've just... When they get the weapons pass, I'll probably be eating my words. But the Hurricane right now is just so much more fun. If I had the Hurricane, I'd have a Hurricane with the CCU to the Scorpius in case I wanted to get out. My exit strategy would be that.
Yeah.
Different.
I've still found that a Hurricane a much more enjoyable ship to fly in, and whether it as pilot or as gunner.
Well, you and I and Badgers have all done that, and definitely had more fun with you guys. So yeah,
the Scorpius, it just felt, it just felt like, I don't know, it just felt like the gunner was extra baggage.
Yeah. So yeah, not every ship is going to speak to everyone, and this just didn't speak to us. But I know there's people out there that love this ship because of the X-wing thing, and people.
Oh look, to me it looks like it's the X-wing, it's the Star Fury. It ticks all those boxes. It ticks all the I want to love the box, but the gameplay with its co-pilot, just if you're the co-pilot, just feels.
Someone in chat was mentioning about Expat would agree them after the 890 fiasco. I've actually been playing Eco with Expat all week. So yeah. Right. And we've been having great fun. Right, the Storm. Has got the other one here? Yeah. So we'll put these both together, Algared. I think, believe it or not, I thought this was going to be a pile of junk, the Storm AA, but I actually think that's where the Storm's at, ironically, after it's come out.
Yeah.
It's just, there's something about the sheer number of missiles. I wouldn't even look at something like the Ballista anymore because I just found this so much more fun.
It certainly kills any of those other smaller missile vehicles as well. This just the Cyclone AA is just dead in the water.
Yeah,
it's just
it's almost like an Ursa or something. This thing, like, I know the gun's more powerful, but that's kind of what it feels like. It just doesn't feel strong enough. There's no kabam factor. It almost feels like a those tanks the army have, but they're just like a guy on a machine gun. They don't feel like a tank. And yeah, just I don't know. I think a ballistic version of this would be on the cards at some point, with a ballistic gun that's got some kind of thing. And the way you and I looked at it and how modular it designed on the top, I will be really surprised if we don't get another variant or maybe even two of this down the road.
As you said,
feels a bit like an Atlas platform, doesn't it? Kind of,
It does. If top section's changeable, it basically is an Atlas platform.
So just to show you guys what we're talking about, there is an interchangeable front piece and there is an interchangeable back piece. So we're even kind of suspecting there might be one that goes across both. Believe it or not. So yeah, we'll have a look at that.
If it happens, it happens.
Yeah. Now I'm going to make a large claim here, Algared, and you can feel free to completely disagree with me. But of everything that went in game last year, I think this is the best ship of the year. And that might be a large claim, but there's just something about this ship that speaks to so many people. I think it's a great little starter. Yeah. As confusing it is at the start, I just think I've had so many more comments about this than anything else from people that have never seen the game before. So this appealed to a lot of, like, it drew people into the game. Like, I have friends that know what I do, and some of them laugh at me, call it a scam and all that, but they sat up and took notice when they saw this. So yeah, I don't know, Algared, what's your thoughts on that?
The one thing I found frustrating with this is the top of the screen where you've got the kind of the screens, the viewer's kind of got this shading, and when you're in the dark and it kind of obscures the skyline, and so it makes it difficult to to level it without.
Is it a color thing?
Well,
Is it fixable through art, or is it an actual
it's an art issue? Because it's visuals on the screen. But I found that distracting in terms of throwing off.
Oh, yeah, a stroke. I'm sure we'll be back in a minute. I don't know. Well, that's all fixable, Algared. So I don't have that much of a problem with things that are fixable. If it was kind of a thing that was unfixable, then I'd have issues. Yeah.
No, but that was the one thing I found. It took the visuals that my brain was getting were different from the information that I needed to use, and it was just throwing me. So if you were trying to land in the dark, it kind of threw you.
Yeah.
But it was that type of issue that I had. But
yeah,
I loved flying it. Great little ship. But
I wouldn't be surprised at some point as well if we don't get variants. You know, this is the very combat one, but I could see it leading into a cargo one that has even more cargo, possibly internal and external.
I could say bounty ship.
Yeah.
Bounty hunter.
Well, I think this kind of leans into the bounty already because it's got the guns, it's got the suit, and it's got the weapons lockers. I also think it's good for that. So again, knowing that this is the combat-y type of one, and knowing that the attack is more industrial, like you start thinking of industrial Syulen, and I go straight into cargo, something in line with the Raelian. And I don't know, let me know in chat, Algared, you too, like what's something beyond those two basic ones that you think is industrial? And I'm again got to take note that it's a starter, so I'm not expecting to pull out a miner or anything like that, but what could be a profession that the Syulen industrial lead into? And I don't know. I've racked my brain for a little bit, and I've not heard anything in my own head that has gone, yes. I've kind of gone, nah, maybe, but yeah. So I don't know. I'll put that to you. It's not the easiest thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a hard one.
One of those nifty things they can do, but yeah.
Yeah. So yeah. I don't know. What? So you're not your ship of the year? What was your ship of the year then, if you want to tell me, or have we not gone past it yet?
I'd probably say the Syulen. I really did like the. I did like the Syulen. It did take a little bit of getting used to, but once you got used to the different way of the keys, you know, that the way they were working, it was fine. And once you rotated the ship,
it's just that initial landing is a pain in the butt when you don't know what you're doing. The Vulture, did this really come out? Oh yeah, it was early last year, wasn't it? Wow. I need to start thinking now. Is this the ship of the year? I thought this came out last year. I was in 2022. Am I mistaken on that?
It's all a blur. Don't ask me. I just fly the ships when they come out.
Maybe it was early.
Yeah, I don't really. It doesn't really bother me when they're coming because I know they're coming. So I never. Yeah. And that sounds dumb, but I never really kept tabs of when they came out.
Yeah. So this is a really good little ship as well. So yeah, like John said, this is the ship of the year. I would definitely, it would be up there. If it's not first, it'd be in my top 3. But I didn't think it came out last year. I thought it came out the year before.
Yeah, I'd have to go back and have a look. I honestly can't.
There we go. So no, someone just said there it came out with 3/18, which is like December 2022, but it was flyable in the PU in 2022. So that's why, because it was in the PTU for ages. I remember now. Yeah, so we could fly it in November in the PTU, but it didn't go live until like I think it was early January or something like that. So that's why. Yeah, okay, fair enough.
I think the thing that really made this better was those changes they made where they doubled that internal storage.
Yep.
You weren't getting out of your seat as much as you were originally. Like it felt like every 5 seconds you were out of your seat, going to the machine, printing, you know.
Yeah.
And that change I think made it more playable or more enjoyable to play.
Yeah. I don't know. It's a difficult one for me because something like the Syulen is a lot more accessible, where this is starting to get into that mid-range where people won't go that high, you know, because
it's an advanced starter territory.
Yeah. Well, more than that, it's profession starter. It's beyond advanced. Yeah. And let's be honest, it's a more expensive profession starter. Like what most of them are around $150. So I know $25 doesn't sound like a lot, but when you put that into perspective, that's half the price of the game that most people are getting into. Most people are just buying that $50 starter and that's it. So yeah. Right. The bikes, love them or hate them. I think. Sorry.
Much ado about nothing.
Yeah, they are. It does feel like that. They, long time coming, and then kind of like almost like a confetti cannon that doesn't fire any confetti. That's what it felt like. But I am kind of happy they are finally in the game. There are a lot of people that wanted them, and everyone does kind of have to wait their turn. So I know people were waiting 6 years for this thing. So that's a fairly long time for something that most people would consider that comes kind of straight away. You and I are going to say the same thing. Like, this costs the same price as a Fury. This costs the same price as a Cutter Scout. Like, why would you bother? So these are, yeah.
It costs the same price as an Ursa.
Yeah, they're funding the game, but yeah, even then, get a ship that that you can play the game with. You can't play the game with these, so I'm glad they're in the game. I'm sure at some point we'll all use them, but they just not good value, as we always say. All right, the CL. So for me, Grid, let's look at the Zeus as a whole, right? Because you and I were talking about it just before the show. I think this one is the one that I think is the shittiest one. Not that I'm saying I hate Exploration or anything like that, but I just think it doesn't offer as much as, say, some of the other explorers in its category. I think the Bounty Hunter seems really good on paper, and I think the CL literally rivals the Max. You and I went through this, right?
Yeah.
So literally, for me, it really does come down to the other two. And I don't think a choice can be really wrong, because it starts to come down to personal opinion here if you're looking into these ones. And it's a tough call because, again, you and I went through this, isn't it? Like, and the thing you were saying before the show is they're so close to the Connie in a lot of ways. And I don't think you're wrong there. But you're talking like another $100 to get to a Connie.
Well, the CL is 150. What's a Taurus? 190. So $40 to get it to CL over a a Zeus, not a Zeus, a
Connie,
Taurus.
Yep.
And earlier in the chat,
Taurus is only $50 more. So,
yeah. And there was discussion in the chat. Someone was saying, I can't remember who. Sorry, who. They were saying they were taking they'd take a CL over a Connie.
There is reasons you would, though, isn't there? You and I've gone through this. The small jump point thing that's come up from years and years and years. There's a really
my only comment to that, which I did put in chat, was the only problem with taking that viewpoint at the moment is the Connie's in game at the moment, whether it's so.
One thing I would say, so there's a person here called Carlos Pena said C1 versus CL. We actually went through this with a really fine-tooth comb because at the time we were really tired and I made a couple of mistakes, so I really wanted to get it right. We went through and over-analyzed the absolute shit out of every medium ship that was in the game. And even when we were in the video, we were finding that there was others that we should have included, but it's not fair to compare this to a C1. A C1 and CL one is a variant, and one is a base model. And one of the things that became really clear to me and Algared after we went through this, and we literally start the video with that, is his mic was say it again, Algared, because people didn't hear.
That was the base version.
Yeah.
There wasn't a base version.
You're breaking up a little bit. I don't know why, but yeah, as you said, there's no base version, right, of the Zeus. There just isn't. So you cannot compare. It's apples to oranges. They are different. Where you look at a default Cutlass Black, a Spirit, and a Freelancer, they are all base variants. There just isn't one. And it became really obvious when you laid that all out. We laid it out in Grim and Starlet's Fleet Viewer, and it was really clear. And it wasn't until we got all the stats on paper and laid it all out and stood back and looked at it.
But that's what really made us go, oh, that's the thing that's missing. Because you didn't really see it, and you look at the S, that's the exploration version. So you goes up against the DUR. It goes up against, goes up against
the Max. This one goes up against the Max.
Yeah, this goes up against.
The last one is this goes up against the Blue.
Yeah.
And again, in comparing all those, there were pros and cons to both. There were ones that stood above others. So I think this is possibly the better of the bounty hunters. But when we looked at this, the Dur seemed to be further range. So again, different explorers for different roles. And the CL, the thing that came in through this appears to be more tanky based, but it flies worse. Right. And the Freelancer Max in a straight line was faster than normal Freelancers because it's got 2 additional engines.
That's the thing that the CL killed for me was the fact that RSI took the in-game company RSI took the view that not being able to access your components when you're fully laden wasn't acceptable.
I think we worked out, Algared, wasn't it? Was like you could go with 8 less SCU and still access them, though. I think that was what you and I worked out, wasn't it? Something like that.
Yeah, you could probably do that.
But then when you add in the randomness of boxes, though, you still might not have a choice. So that for me was the thing that kills the seal. When you're fully laden, yes, you might be able to get more cargo in, but when you're fully laden, if anything goes wrong with your components, you're screwed. I think the other part of this, though, is because it's tanky, you'd kind of want to extend that tankiness with repair, so it kind of fights itself, and I didn't like that either. But ironically, the ST, we all know the ST is a thing. I think that might actually be where the Zeus is at for me, believe it or not, even though it's a racing variant, but we'll have to wait and see till that drops.
Maybe ST is standard and it's actually the base version.
Yeah. One thing I am going to check really quickly, because I didn't get a chance, is I'm going to go into the pledge store and see if any of the paints are up. And the reason I bring this up is a lot of people go, why the hell do you look at paints? They don't mean anything, blah, blah, blah. But if there are some rare paints that come up, they are worth buying, melting in your buy back, and then it removes that limited factor. So I'm just going to have a quick look, because me and Algared did not look at this before the stream, because obviously it's 5 a.m. for us when we woke up. But what
it's 5 a.m. started.
Yeah, I've been up since 2, but yeah. I'm not seeing anything yet. I think we're shit out of luck. No limited ones. A couple of news, but they can be new for 12 months. We found that out too. Just having a quick look for nothing. There's a yellow spirit. Now, someone was saying this before, that this yellow one is not working for them. Who was that in chat? There was someone in chat. I remember them reading real quick. He said their yellow skin doesn't work on their spirit. So apparently that's not working at the moment. I'm going to be honest. The new paints don't look as cool as the older ones, if I'm mistaken. The only one I've kind of liked is the Stalwalk. But all the ones that actually came as the, the pre-order ones, whatever you want to call it, Algared, they were the better ones, weren't they? At least in my book. Algared? No, Algared's not a paint person. Doesn't want to talk about it, right?
Yeah, paints are paints. Yep. Some look real, some speak to you when you put them on in game, but I've never really been interested in paints, skins, not on the ships.
CIG make a mammoth amount of money on these skins, like a mammoth amount of money for what they are. This is why we don't have a full-fledged paint system yet, because they're just making too much money to fund the game.
I have a feeling we won't in the long run. I wouldn't be surprised if we don't end up getting it.
Yeah. Well, how long has it been? Like 2016, 2017? So it's been a while.
Yeah. Well, no, it was still in those early days of what they thought they'd do.
Yeah.
But yeah, maybe they will, but yeah.
So that's it for that. I know we've probably spent, how long did we spend? 44 minutes, holy crap. Right, so we spent a whole bunch of time talking about that. We don't even have 10 questions. So yeah, guys, we've got 10
questions.
Right, Cragon says, I haven't seen mention of the Lunar New Year. Any clue when it would be? Isn't it in February, Algared?
It is. Usually early February, so I'd have to have a look at the calendar and see when it actually is, but it's usually from memory in February.
Let's Google that for him, since he doesn't know how to Google. We can do that for him. Let's do that. When is Lunar New Year? Or Chinese? It would be Chinese New Year, wouldn't it?
I can just remember
10th of February.
And I was thinking close.
Yeah, you were really close. I'm talking about the other guy who asked the question, Cragon. He couldn't Google, apparently.
Well, But it's not necessarily when is Lunar New Year, but when it's the IG doing it. And he hasn't heard it. And true, we haven't heard anything on Lunar New Year. Although very early on, I think.
Oh, he's had a stroke again. A minute. What time is it? 5. There shouldn't be any lag at this point in time of the morning. Oh, he'll be back in a sec. You back?
As well. So,
yeah, you're back. Right. What were you saying? Repeat yourself.
Yeah, so although we haven't seen anything from Serge mentioning Lunar New Year, we did have that those data mined.
The skins. Yeah, we did. They were very origin based, if I remember correctly. Like the Spirit, the 100 series, they had I think a 600i one and maybe a 400i. They're very origin this time around. Yeah. And we've also got the racing skins, because the race thing is going on this. Actually, that might even be on the main CRG website. Give me a sec. They're coming in as well. And actually, I think they're sub-flare. Believe it or not, I think they ended up being sub-flare, those skins. Anyway, what?
I just saw Luna Maria's comment in questions.
Well,
you guys just started and you're already counting questions.
Yeah. All right, Algared. Do you want to read us a question then, while I'm trying to find this? Here we go.
So we've done Cragon.
Hang on.
Lazarus, better overall racing ship, Fury LX or M50? I think in space, I think the LX is probably better. But in atmosphere, I think the M50's probably got it. I know I'd have to go back and have a look at the data sheet we've got for that's been put together by Atmosphere Racing, and we've got pretty much every racing ship been done and worked out in terms of how it goes on the racetracks.
So you tell me really quickly, based on this being a subscriber promotion flare, I think this clearly tailored at the Daymite Rally, yeah?
Oh, yeah.
Because that's what they are. They're all land vehicles. And again, these are available right now to buy, but Algared and I would not recommend you touch any of them with a 10-foot barge pole, because they're vehicles. But yeah, might need to grab that one, Algared.
If you've got credits and you want to go and Daymite Rally and you want one of those, buy one with credits and then dump it afterwards.
So, by the way, this is how I grab pictures. By the way, they suck them off for me, and I just grab the ones I want. So I'm going to do that real quick. I'm going to grab this image, and you'll probably see this as a thumbnail real soon. A little bit of behind the scenes. Anyway, all right. You got another question there, Eric?
Yeah, I'm going to grab Stephen Brown's question from YouTube really quick.
Yeah, go for it.
I've picked it up because it was tagged with me. That's why I grabbed my eye. It says, can we do a GoFundMe to get me better internet connection? Unfortunately, the problem is not with my internet, it's with the node out in the street. And so even going new internet wouldn't solve the problem, because Australian internet sucks.
So, I'm kind of against GoFundMe. I'd rather it just kind of go, we do it here type of thing. But yeah, if we ever did a GoFundMe anyway. But I don't know. I'm hesitant to do that.
And there's not much we can do about that. And it's just waiting until they fix the damn thing.
Well, I'm having that kind of dilemma at the moment, still deciding whether I should go this year to CitizenCon. So I'll
I want to. I'm hoping to, but I also depend on whether I get my long service leave.
Yeah. So we've both got a little bit of things up in the air at the moment. Mine's financial. It's a lot of money to spend, because I don't know. Any of you guys go look on a map and, hey, let's do that. That'll be a bit fun. Google Maps.
And SpaceX. No, I really don't. I really want to avoid Elon Musk, because I think he's a dick.
Right. So you can kind of see here, this is where I live. Right. I live in this town here called Launceston. It's in Tasmania. I could probably do a satellite view. What's the button? Satellite view, right? So I live on this little island here called Tasmania. It is the land where the spinning devil thing comes from. That is a real thing. No, it's not. It's not a real thing. But they do live here. They're called devils. So yeah,
like a tornado.
Yeah, so I live in this city of Launceston at the end of this river that's like 50 kilometers inland, and it basically went. This is where Algared lives, up here in Sydney. And when they came in with the first fleet, they landed here. Sydney was the first city. Then they went down to Hobart, and Port Arthur is the penal colony where they kept everyone. It's also where there was a massive shooting 20, 30 years ago. Lots of people got shot.
In fairness, the whole colony at this point was a penal colony, but Tasmania would.
Well, let me finish. Let me finish my story. And then the third city was Launceston. So it's actually the third oldest city in Australia. But it's probably still one of the smallest. Melbourne was actually made by people that were born in Launceston, called Bass and Flinders, that then went to Melbourne. Now Melbourne has now grown to it's almost rivaling Sydney. That's how weird that is. How that all played out. And then we've got Canberra here, which is our weird capital city. That's kind of like a fake capital city. I don't know what else would you call that, Algared? Canberra.
It's a compromise.
Yes. Yeah, because Sydney, both wanted to be capitals, so they chucked it in the middle. Yeah.
Parliament, the first Australian Parliament was in Melbourne. A temporary Parliament was in Melbourne.
Yeah.
But there was almost this antagonism between Sydney and Melbourne was so great that they actually had to put it kind of in between. And they had to. The closest it could be was, a couple of 100 kilometres from either place, and. But to
make it short in a way that I understand, it's roughly an 8-hour drive from Melbourne to Sydney, or vice versa, and Canberra's about 3 hours, so it's not quite in the middle, but it's middle enough. I lived there. I lived there for a time, and the most annoying thing about it is the biggest temperature change of any city in Australia. So it gets lowest temperatures to highest. That gap is the biggest.
I think it was as close to Sydney as they could make it in the end.
So those
the other interesting thing.
Those of you that let me finish the story. All right. So those that Starlet lives over here, or used to live over here. I think she lives in Thailand now, but Starlet's from New Zealand over here. But just to give you a perspective of the entire map, this is LA over here. So this takes us. I think it's 19 hours to go from 17. For me, it's like 19 because I come from Tassie. Yep. And then to get to Manchester, it's all the way over here. And I've looked it up. It's a 23-hour flight. So we're literally talking a day just to get there in a plane. And then where else is there? You've got Frankfurt and that's all in here as well, in Germany. So it's roughly the same. So
when I first went to the States, one of the things I was tossing up was at that time was go England.
Yeah.
Kick off my bucket list of England and the historic sites to go to the States. And one of the two things influenced it. One was the cost, and two was the travel time. And the States one.
Yeah. I think the last thing I'll talk about real quick, because me and I have done this a few times with a few different people, is Australia is roughly the same size as the United States, but the reason it doesn't have the population is you can clearly see it's mostly desert. But if you want to put in perspective that most American audiences or people can understand, I've got to find the state now, but you can take the whole entire state of Texas, the population of Texas, and spread it out to be Australia, and Australia's still got 2 million people less. That's why things cost so much here, because the distance, everything just costs money to be sent places, because we are close to China and that, so we get a lot of cheaper things that come down through Singapore and stuff like that on the shipping lanes. But it just the literal population and distance is why everything costs so much more here. But yeah, I think
a little interesting thing I was going to say before is New Zealand, even though it's an independent sovereign country, actually is mentioned in the Australian Constitution as a founding state.
Yeah.
And that was, in the history, the settlement was Sydney, Bath, and the penal colony set up in New Zealand for the same reason.
Our flags are almost identical too. So I'll put it up, yeah. But anyone that lives in Tassie, we actually get along with the New Zealanders as well, because we kind of all act like this exiled nation. We call them the word they use here is mainlanders. We always call them mainlanders. So you can see mainlanders when they're down here because of the way they act and stuff. It's pretty funny. But yeah, everyone thinks everyone down here is a bunch of weirdos, but you can also see from the...
We just say you're all inbred.
Yeah. That's because we told the Praetorians in Victoria that we were twice as smart, and they took that as to mean we have two heads because they're so dumb. But anyway, but yeah, we grow all the food down here, so it's a very regional area. So yeah. Anyway, but yeah, there's a lot of like this. Literally, most of this area down here is completely undiscovered down here. It's just like such thick vegetation, and when Australia was discovered, so to speak. The guy called Abel Tasman was in a boat coming along here. He crashed into the side of Tasmania. Well, he didn't crash, but they found Tasmania down here in the remote part near Strawn. And basically, they decided to sail all the way around, got here, and then went, nah, there won't be anything up there. And then literally went this way and found New Zealand, but missed all of this. They were looking for this, and they missed it because they didn't go north. It's pretty funny. And then it wasn't until like 200 years later that someone found it. Anyway, that is your history of Australia discussion, and I think we should probably move on unless you think different, Algared. Yeah. Right. Next question, please.
Someone in chat says, so Tasmania is Australia's Florida. I would have said
yes. No. Yes. I would totally agree with that. What they mean by that is Florida is the retirement and kind of bogan redneck state. Tasmania is exactly the same. We have a lot of bogans down here, and a lot of people retire here.
But the difference is Florida's never left off the American map.
This is true. We get left off the map a lot.
People draw Australia, they wait 9 times out of 10.
Oh, it gets worse. I remember when I was a student, Algared, and I went into Centrelink. So Centrelink is like our dole office or whatever, and it deals with students and that type of thing. And I went in there, and this woman there told me I couldn't go to another country for my school holidays. And I'm like, are you serious? I was born there. It's a part of Australia. How do you not know this? And she took, like, her manager was like 4 stalls down and came up and like went, yeah, he's right. You're completely wrong. How do you not know this? And it was the funniest thing. Well, anyway, I'm moving on.
Yeah.
All right. Next question, Algared, if you got one.
Yep. Kyle Lutz has a question. They say, will there ever be a ship? Actually, did we answer the Fury LX question? No, we didn't.
Fury LX or M50. I think for me, if you're talking value, one doesn't have a quantum drive. And I know you're talking about it for racing, but at the end of the day, at least you can take your M50 there yourself. You have to get another ship to take your LX there. I know the next patch is coming in so you can spawn stuff like that, but it just, as I said, there is something missing around the Fury, and I'm hopeful we'll see it sooner than later. So wait until, watch this space type of thing and wait for the Fury to get its moment.
I know that the best racer overall in terms of speed in atmosphere is actually the Herald.
Yeah.
I know the second fastest in atmosphere is the P5072.
Yeah.
The M50 is further down, but I'd have to go and have another table in the chat to see the overall times and speeds over the various tracks.
Yeah.
And it does change depending on the track.
Mm.
The LX or the Furies are better in space and they've got better turning, but the boost isn't as good. So there's kind of this balance. But I think I think I gave the M50. But I could be wrong. I'd have to go double check those figures. So Kyle Lentz question. He says, will there ever be a ship, surface, naval for sale after the boat preview in Squadron 42?
They've talked about boats for a while. I just think they weren't kind of needed yet. I think eventually at some point we will definitely be getting them, especially the water tech we saw. I just can't see them not doing them at this point. Algared?
Given we've got a couple of planets that are just water worlds, and we've got the planet with the floating vegetation islands, Towhill.
Maybe they won't be sold though. We don't know, But I think we'll definitely get them in game. Whether they're sold is a different question.
Come on.
Well, no, it could have moved on by then. I don't know. Just want to put it out there.
When we sell bikes and
land claims,
they'll sell. If I think of the market, they'll sell it. That's my thought. Yeah.
So anyway, by the way, I just want to reiterate the whole reason we went through that Google Map stuff was just to literally show you how far Algared and I've got to travel. It's not like just jumping across the states. We have to. It's a whole day of travel, pretty much either way we go to get there, and so it makes it ridiculously expensive. Yeah, I just want to, yeah. Anyway, just so if we don't turn up, don't be surprised. That's why we don't turn up if we don't turn up. Anyway, or Algared's got other commitments, but yeah.
Yeah.
Right, Monster Avery says, do you anticipate the Tali base going flyable at ILW, so I'm just going to say Invictus, or at least them selling the modules at, I think the modules will probably go live when the ship does. I think you and I would agree on at least that, wouldn't you? When, I'm, like, we've seen things that it clearly marks something's coming and then they're delayed by 12 months, so... I'm not going to kind of guess when it's coming. I'd be only guessing.
And my thought is we may end up having a Tali base that's very much like the Galaxy. The idea of a Galaxy. That if you don't have a module in, it's just an empty, inaccessible room. So you keep the outside of the ship the same. So you don't have a hole for donuts in it. That's my guess, but I could be wrong. But yeah.
Yeah, I think, honestly, I kind of see you thinking about it in the, like, it's a torpedo bomber. I started thinking of the Polaris, and I'm like, I'm wondering if they would come at the same time. It would be a good thing from marketing perspective. You know, get your torpedo bomber. The new torpedo bombers are here. Like, and they're obviously going to have to do a bit of work on the torpedoes when they bring in the Polaris. Yep. So you've seen, like, a little bit of a rework of torpedo systems. There are not that many torpedoes in the game. I think there's 4 off my head.
Anything size 5 up is considered a torpedo.
I just meant as in torpedo ships. So you've got the Harbinger, the Gladiator, the Tali bomber, and the Polaris. That's Javelin's got them too, doesn't it?
It does.
So there's 5. Okay, so there's 5.
And it just has
6 then. Okay, but you know what I'm trying to say. There's not that many, and then there's going to be another 10 that drop now. I've said that, but you get what I mean, right? There's not really, compared to other classes of ship, there's not many other ones that have less.
But this question isn't asking about the bomber itself or the torpedo bomber. It's asking about the base. That's the one without the torpedo.
Yes, but they come hand in hand because he talks about the modules. Right?
He does.
So what I'm talking about is what is the likelihood of when they would come, right? And I'm looking for things that are limited requirements, right? So are they going to bring in things like that's how I lead it into the Polaris, because they're both torpedo bombers. Is there one that holds back the other? That's what I was looking at.
I think the thing that holds back the modules on the Tali is fixing the way the torpedoes are working, because they're once they solve that, then they may do it. I think the thing with Tali base was the idea it was empty. You had the donuts, and I have a feeling they'll just leave it as a base model. You know, like. It'll be a sealed ship. It won't have the holes in it because they'll just say, "Oh, no, it's just closed off, empty." You just got bulkheads there just to fill it in.
Well, you could literally just have like the cargo door open and it's open to space.
Yeah, you could.
Yeah,
but I think they'll just seal it off and just, because then you don't have to do more artwork on the exterior. It's just.
I don't know. I kind of asked. I kind of It really depends on how they want to do it. It'll be interesting to see how they go though, because I think you're right. It will lead into things like the Galaxy and stuff like that. It'll set a precedence. So.
Okay, J. Cott says, any thoughts on the Zeus versus the Cutlass Blue? Has Sir G said anything about quantum fuel capacity between the two? Fuel capacity is the big selling point for me.
No, I don't think they really have. And it would just be, you got to remember 1's 3 versus 2, so you'd have to assume that Cutlass kind of is a bit more zippy. Yeah, I think if you're looking at from a fighting terms, that they are both doing it in different ways. I think you're looking at maneuverability and strikeability in the Cutlass, where you're talking about outgunning them in an MR, are you not? Because you imagine it's a bit more tanky and gunny in the MR.
You could possibly look at the thing like the stats page for the ships and look at the fuel tanks, look at the engines, look at the sizes, and that may give you an indication. But at this point in time, I don't think we can.
Yeah.
And it certainly wasn't something that came up in the Q&A.
I think the main thing that came up was we looked at a few other people talking about the Cutlass Blue versus the MR, and the solability of the Cutlass Blue is why a lot of people push the Cutlass Blue. But again, the ships aren't designed to do that. They're designed to be for 2 to 3 people. And once the AI and all that stuff comes around, though it's so far off, once it does come around, the ships will be very different from what people recommend today. And when you start to look at it as weapons on paper, the MR just came up to the top in almost everything we looked at, right? Because, like, yes, the pilot doesn't have the guns, but you've got turrets that both have 360-degree rotations. It's going to decimate. Anyone that's been in a Hurricane will just tell you how strong a turret is on a ship, right? So imagine if you had the Hurricane, one on the top, one on the bottom, and I know that's not the analogy I'm kind of really going for, but you get what I mean, Algared. That'd be a very strong ship, wouldn't it? You know, the ability to look at the Redeemer, and the bottom one can't even aim back properly. We're talking about 2 full 360-degree turrets. That ship is going to be nasty, very nasty. And then you add the EMP into it as well that the Blue already has. So yeah.
Yep.
All right. We got a first-time chatter question. I'm going to answer only because it's a first-time chatter. Wild Lee Coyote says, do you ever think that CIG will realize they have far too many rocks and planets and moons and reduce the amount of driving hazards? I think roads will be a part of that, wouldn't you, Algared, at some point? And I've often thought about this. Is there going to be a way that we can possibly remove certain things? Like, could you, how do I put this? Think about agriculture, Algared. What's a part of agriculture? Farming. Removing obstacles so you can put more plants down and stuff like that. I actually think at some point we may be able to morph the terrain a little bit. Because they do it with the editor. I can't see why we can't do it.
I would imagine there'll be on a land claim, there'll be a limited area where you could actually, within that land claim, there'll be a certain amount that you can actually do to level, clear land.
There'll be a cost to it too, because just like in real life, moving, you can't just go, oh, I'm going to delete that mountain and that cost me $1.50. No, like what you're moving will cost you money and time. I have no doubt. Yeah, and we've seen that in games before too. Like doing ridiculous changes to terrain costs a lot of time and energy.
I remember doing Life is Feudal and filling in a bay so I could build something because I wanted to ever.
Your mic is not picking you up again. I don't know why, but yeah. It's this. I can think of many games like that. Valheim's another one where you had to make the walls and stuff like that, and Eco, and it goes on and on. Yeah, so it's a very common trope. All right, J Voodoo Child says, question: to earn down to the hull C, wouldn't you advise the non-limited hull D instead of the BMM? You can earn down to whatever you want.
Yeah,
that's the best part of earning down. You can go from a cargo ship to a bounty hunting ship to whatever you want. That's the whole analogy of the earn down thing. Buy one big ship that you like and go to any ship you want off that. That big ship allows you. That's why I recommend one big ship all the time, because it's just like, you've got it, now use it to earn whatever you want.
Do everything else. For me, I'd probably still go the BMM over the hull D, just because I think that the BMM offers more varied gameplay. Yeah, but just me.
But you might be into that thing. All right, it's the variety to choose, and that's the best part about this game. Player choice.
It's choose a ship, choose a large ship that you like, and then earn down to everything.
Absolutely.
So Reclaimer, Orion, the Hull E, BMM, whatever. So
Tom Van Doren says, question: C1 or Vulture? Thanks for your content. Why not both? Says the little girl with the tacos. It's up to you. Do you like industrial salvage? Do you like cargo running? Again, player choice. There is no perfect ship, and there is only really the perfect ship for you, and only you can pick that. It's not us. We'll advise you, and we will try to help you as much as we can. But again, even if the episode last week didn't show you anything, you know, we even go out. So it's just a baseline that you work off. Everything we try to teach you is a baseline. So yeah. Algared, would you want to say anything to that?
Yeah. Well, again, I'd look at, if I'm looking at something like that, I'd go, which offers me the most game, which offers me the most choices. And obviously one or Vulture, I'd go Vulture. At least without going deep into, you know, cargo capacity both. Because the Vulture gives me gameplay. Gives me the option to do regular cargo runs, gives me the option to do stuff.
So well, sorry, I don't want to pick up. So Chris has said C1 Spirit for one of the best looking daily drivers, never mind the functionality. Well, see, that's the thing, Chris. That's the best looking for you, where someone else might prefer something else. So, for example, when we look at value, we try not to look at the looks because that's an opinion, right? So again, you got to be able to take yourself out of these situations. It's very hard to do so when you're trying to do it en masse for everybody.
A classic example of look over everything else. I like the look of the Redeemer's engine. Always have. I thought they look sick. But I hate the look of the Redeemer's engines because they don't fit the law. They're an aberration. They're a one-off. But I like the look of them.
You know the solution to that, right?
Sorry?
You know the solution to that, right?
Yeah, add more of them in the game.
No, change the law.
Well, the law is already they're supposed to be experimental engine.
Yeah, I know. But
well,
that's kind of cool though. If they, yeah, it'd be cool to see a variant of the Redeemer that didn't have those engines as well, if they're experimental. Like here's the first prototype, or you know, something.
The experimental version, the experimental engines that did not work. That's why we don't see them anywhere else. So why haven't we changed the engines if they don't work? And if they do work, why don't we have them on other ships? And that's my conundrum. One of the things I hate about those engines.
Yeah.
There are other things I don't like about the Redeemer, but
yeah, I heard. Sorry, there's a question. Tom's dropped another question here that I just saw in chat that I want to read because I did hear about this, but I can't remember where I heard about it from, and I absorb a lot of stuff. So Tom says, question: do you guys know that already 300 people have crossed over work on the PU? That would such a thing do time this year in progression? Broken English there at the end, but I think what he's trying to say is like, are we getting a lot of progression this year on Star Citizen? Absolutely. That was something that the episode me and you did with space recently. That's really what I got out of it. It was really clear there's a lot of fundamental tech for Star Citizen, and this year looks like it's the fundamental tech for fundamental tech for Squadron 42. Sorry, is it wrong? And now we're getting the fundamental tech, so taking all the single-player stuff and adding the multiplayer stuff to it. And if you actually roll it through, it makes so much sense why we're getting base building now. It just...
But I think a lot of it, I think part of it was also in the last couple of years, or last year, I think they were doing a lot of behind-the-scenes work. They were working on, you know, trying to get things stable and get, you know, this year, as Squadron 42 is now feature complete and the staff are moving across, we are seeing that. We will see that. And that was the thing, you know, spaces aren't the bursting of a dam.
Yeah.
Whether it's a big dam break or whether it's just lots of little weirs breaking, I think we're going to see that. And it's for the game.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Starts with the trickle and becomes a torrent, or you can do the old snowball approach as well. So, yeah, I don't disagree with that at all. You and I have been saying the dam bursting thing for years. I think a lot of us are. There's only a few content creators that aren't saying that now, but we'll wait and see. Right.
John Citizen's question was basically linked to Tom Van Duren's, which says, what's the SCU? Which was basically my question. Which one's the more SCU?
128 for the CL and 120 for the Freelancer Max. Was an 8 difference.
That was C1 versus Vulture. So.
No. I'm pretty sure it was CL versus Freelancer Max. But anyway, Dante Sorrento says, question: is there a compelling argument for the Zeus Marky Mark or someone who isn't a pirate? I think there is. I think we kind of just covered that in the previous question. Again, you might be into the RSI aesthetic, you might be into the Drake aesthetic. Again, that's why a bit of variety is a good thing. Algared, anything you want to say?
Yeah, well, it's a bounty hunter, so it's not necessarily a pirate.
Yep. Just to follow up, Grim says on Twitch, she says, in fact, a lot of the Squadron 42 features come for 323. That will be a sign for me that the dam...
It's a cop ship. The dam is bust.
Yeah, that the dam might be about to break. Yep.
Yeah.
I don't disagree, and you and I have said just as much. So yeah. Sorry. Who's next? Chris, you go for it.
Is there any game loop you would like to see that CIG hasn't planned on yet? Agriculture, taco trucks, water purification, and transport. You know, on some planets, I could see the water reclamation plants, just so they can have a Luke Skywalker type homestead.
I can see like a water world and like Tatooine, and they are in the same solar system, and their biggest exports is exporting to each other. So one exports dirt to that one, one exports water.
Yeah, I could see something like that.
Yeah, that'd be funny. Or maybe they're mortal enemies, and they're fighting for parts on each other's planet. Yeah.
And Tatooine planets dragging ice asteroids back to the planet.
Yeah, that could be quite funny.
Yeah, big game hunting, farming.
I think I can safely say all of the above. Like, let's be honest, the more gameplay we have, the cooler the game's going to be, let's be honest. And I think once the initial plan is done, I think there'll be just more gameplay constantly coming. If this game goes where we all kind of hope it's going to go, and they talk about it never ending, so to speak, like a forever game, it will just keep rolling out. You know, they move into aliens. They may have professions that humans don't do.
Yeah. Well, you look at games like EverQuest and Daok and WoW, and they're still going.
Yeah.
You know, like Lotros is 17 years this year. It's still going.
Yeah.
They've just released their Courses of Umbar module. Now I haven't looked at that since for ages, just because every time I bring out a new thing, I'd have to go through and redo my character, and but it's the same with every game. But yeah,
I've just thought of something that I want to bring up too, in case we have to change something. So Algared finds out next week about his times for his job, his schooling stuff next week. So Algared, I'll let you speak for yourself here, but yeah.
So we're looking at wanting to change our start time because 5 o'clock is.
I don't have a problem with it, but the main reason is because of your.
But because my timetable may change, I may have to work on Friday. I've got my timetable and see what comes, and that may mean we need to change the days.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. We'll probably put a community post out, or we'll probably talk to you on one of the streams about it and just see what you guys think. So it'll either, I think, would more likely drop back rather than drop forward. So it'll probably drop back to our Saturday, your guys' Friday, or something like that, or a different time that Algared can make it at the very least. But we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. We just don't know yet, so he should know next week.
My gut feeling is that we do need to change. We'd switch to Saturday just because it's or our Saturday, your Friday, because it would be easier and it would not need to change again, at least theoretically.
Yeah. So we'll see what happens. Just letting you guys know. So I just want to give you guys a quick update. Right. Skullhole says, I don't. Wrong. Yeah, that one can be skipped because he's telling someone how to write questions. All right. KL Lau says, do you think they will release a combat version of the Syulen, or do you think there is a good chance they'll release a real Mark II F8C? So I think the Syulen is the combat version, unless you disagree with me, Algared, on that one.
At present, it does appear to be fairly good at combat. If I bring out a combat variant, what would change?
Yeah, can you add more guns? Does it get 6 guns instead of 3? And gets more components or something. Yeah,
size 5 guns instead of size 4 or whatever. So yeah. And then and the second you go up in certain size of guns, like the size 5s, just like the torpedoes, they become the more anti-ship guns, lower than the ones that are geared for fighting fighters. And so you go to bigger gun, and then you're, how's that changing your effectiveness? So
yeah.
Would they Yeah. So I don't know whether the Syulen is actually a fighter version yet. I seem like a fighter version. What other variants would that be? And then is there a good chance they release a real Mark II F7C? Yeah.
Yeah.
Civilian version of a Mark II? Yeah, sure. I don't see a problem with that. We've got a civilian version of VF8. So why not?
Someone just asked in the YouTube chat, I believe it was Limited Respawn, said, "Are you guys going to do a CCU guide on this video?" And I just realized they actually do have discounted CCUs on all of them. So yeah, I reckon we could make that the video for the weekend. Oh, but it's only for today, isn't it? Shit.
It is for today.
Oh, work! I don't want to work today, Algared. Come on, I want to sleep in. No. I don't know. We'll have a look at it, but quite honestly, I think it's pretty easy. You guys would know most of this at the moment, and
all those ships have CCUs. Basically, all the starter ships and the bikes and the vehicles ignore the CCUs because they're so cheap. They'd normally be your.
Maybe we should just. You just want to do it now on stream? We could do it. I don't know. What's the lowest one? So you'd start out. There's no LTI token, so that kind of ruins it.
Yeah. So you're purchasing in the light of hoping for an LTI token.
Is there anything in the store that's got the LTI though? Let's have a quick look. Is there anything that you're aware of, Algared? I think everything's moved on now, isn't it?
Probably not, because all the new ships will have been past their month. So all the LTI tokens.
Yeah, so you'd need to have an LTI token, but there's no reason you can't build a chain and just get a different LTI token later too. So yeah, yeah, I guess we could have a look at that, but it would have to be off stream because it's just going to take us a couple of minutes to work it out. So yeah, but someone mentioned it. Hull C 355, Santucci 245s, and Terry's. He's done it backwards for some reason, but yeah, he has done one. So he's got a Rambler LTI token. If you've got one, then you go to a C1, then you go from a C1 to an SRV, from a SRV to a Vulture, to an A1, to an Antares, to a Santucci to a Hull C, and that takes you up to a $500 ship. But he doesn't say the value. So I'm talking about Lost Walmart. Lost Walmart, can you tell me the total value of that ship, please? Like, so it's a $500 ship, but what is the milk value? That's because we want to see the saving on it. So if you can tell, if someone can tell us the saving, that'd be fantastic. But yeah, we can just.
I suppose the key question really is: are there any war bond CCUs?
Let me just do this real quickly so people can see. I can bring it up on screen. We have the technology to do so very quickly. I'm just gonna save this. What do I call it? CCU chain gen sale. So I can move that later. Right, and then if I go in here, I should be able to bring it up here now. Doing this on the fly. All right, so you guys should possibly be able to see that now if I press this button. Bang. Right, so this is what he said on Twitch. There you go. So there's your little CCU guide, except he did it backwards. They don't stack. What doesn't stack? Oh, it's under the 29th. It is under the... Okay, then we'll do one. We'll definitely do one if it's under the 29th. All right. I thought it was only on today, but yeah. Let's have a quick look and see. They say they don't stack, so... Rambler is an token, so it's 125 to 150 to 165. That perfectly stacks. 175 to 200. That stacks. 200 to 210. Yeah, they all stack. To 230. Yeah, so what's the biggest saving? That's 20. That's 20. So it doesn't matter. So you either take the Santucci or you take the Antares. You can't take both. And then you go, yeah. So all you do is drop down Santucci or the Antares and only take one of them, and they've both got the same saving. And you might have your own CCUs there as well from previous chains. Vulture and SRV. Let me have a look. Vulture. Oh yeah. Yeah, 165 to 175.
$50 saving on a Hull C. You get the war bond.
I think unfortunately he's wrote it so backwards for me that I find it very hard to understand. I need to go back to his original post. Hang on. Let's copy the text. and I'll notepad this shit. Hold on, Algared. Sorry for the white light.
Mhm.
I'm just gonna put it backwards. So Rambler is LTI token, and then you go C1. This is why we don't do shit live, because it's boring as that shit. And then A1. Then Terry's. Thank you for doing that, though. I do appreciate it. I forgot the gentleman's name. Who was it? Lost and Walmart. Very much an American person from the Walmart, I'm assuming. Right. So, how do I show this on screen? Geez, I don't have any way to show that on screen. I could probably just paste it. Hang on, I'll put it in chat. Nah, see, that's what he's done. It's gone in one big text string, Algared. What I'll do is I will do this, Algared, to fix what he's done. File, save. I think that'll fix it when it Algared. Probably shouldn't have closed that yet, but anyway. There we go. That makes it a bit easier now. Makes it more understandable for me anyway. I hope it does for you, Algared. Does it make sense?
Oh, mate sense.
Yeah, cool.
I could take it both ways, but it's easier to follow from a start point up rather than the way back. But
yeah,
I've done both in the past, so
yeah, I prefer going that way. It just made it confusing for me. But yeah, as you can see, Santucky areas are the only two where there's any overlap. Got a nice little Vulture A1 there as well. And SRV, there's actually 3 that perfectly link up there. Well, that's really nice. So yeah, you can do a little chain.
One CCUs to, like I sometimes go backwards if I know there's a particular ship I want. I'll go from that ship and work my way back to my start ship.
Actually, the person I really wish that was here was Lemming, because he'd actually be able to tell us if there's any that are missing there from the previous chains, like at AIE or whatever. So yeah, but yeah, I'll go through and if we don't do an episode on an Algared, I think we'll just do a short. But this could be our episode for the weekend if you want to do a lazy one. So yeah,
could very well be. But yeah, so when building chains, I start from say it all the time. Lock in your finish point. Lock in the cost value of a ship you want to get to. And then it doesn't matter if you.
Yeah, they're right. I'm having a brain fart. They are the same price, so they don't interlock. Because they're the same price, they can't be used because they're $0 CCUs. Yeah, they're right. They're going to be a $5 gap. I can't believe I forgot that. Yeah. Those three don't work. So you'd have to drop out the Vulture one in the middle. Yeah. Which is a $10 gap. Yeah, that's the one I'd drop out. Yeah. So drop the Vulture one as well. You'd have to drop the Vulture and yeah, you'd have to drop the Vulture one. But yeah, you're right. Yeah.
But you apply it, you look at your CCUs, you buy them. But yeah, there's certainly some savings there. But without going into detail and looking and
I don't really see any.
I'll be honest, my brain is mush at the moment.
Yeah, I'm a bit the same. That's why we're a bit lacking. That's why we tend to do this stuff off stream, because we're very tired at this time of the morning. I'd have to say though, there's like I'm looking at the names going down there, Algared, because they're all ships from last year. They're all CCUs from last year, right? So there's nothing new there. Like absolutely nothing. This is almost the identical chain. I think the only one that kind of comes in that wasn't there at AIE was this. And you and I picked this up
years ago.
Oh, I picked it up like early. I got $150 off. This is only $50 off.
Yeah.
I picked up like 3 or 4 of these and got $150 off. So this is not as good as the one I got last year, where all the others are probably equal or less than. So this is a late man's CCU chain type of thing. So yeah.
But it still gives an opportunity to get some savings in there.
Yeah. Especially if you're new.
Yeah. Okay, next question.
Yep.
Stephen Brown. No, we've done that one. That's the can we get good internet? Unfortunately, my internet dependent on the node. Hurricane says, what do you think would be the largest improvement to the Reclaimer over the current design that is in game?
We've talked about this. This is probably the third or fourth time I've talked about this. They in the video, in the YouTube video, they actually talk about going back and making it like the original intention. So I'm pretty sure, Algared, and I think you'd agree with me, what we currently have is a stopgap.
Best improvement to Reclaimer? I'm surprised you didn't say it, X. The snub.
Well, yeah, that's part of it, but I think he means the gameplay. But yeah.
Make it so that the exploration of ships is actually a thing.
So typical Lemming fashion, he just turned up. Lemming, if you can post the chain through me on Discord that you think is the best, but yeah, as I said, I think you've got to take the Vulture out and either the Antares or the Santoki. But yeah. Anyway.
Yeah, even Lemming finds it hard to turn up at 5 a.m.
So Lemming's saying there isn't one really. So there you go. So yeah, there's not much there. Like, and as I said, they all look like the same ones from last year. So yeah,
I would imagine you might find one or two that you could slot into a chain, but not necessarily.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah. So I don't think there's much there. The more I look at it, but yeah, my brain is much at the moment, so I'll have to go back through that later. Yeah. Next question, Algared, unless you want to talk more about the Claimer.
Well, I just think adding the snub and making the need to go and explore a wreck, pull off the bits and take the fuel off, take the ammo off, take the weapons off, take the components out before you munch it. That changes the gameplay completely.
Well, it kind of means the other ships have got to be in game, don't they? And kind of working ironically. So that's the other part.
That's where you need your snub. So, Art Life.
Yep.
What do you guys think about CIG removing shields from hover bikes? We've already talked about that.
Yeah.
In the past.
They're bikes. It doesn't matter. They've obviously looked at them and found that they're hard to hit because they're so small. Maybe that's a part of it. Again, we'll get to see them without, and if they're a problem, they'll bring them back.
I tend to think that had we had bikes without shields in the first place, and then we had the X1 Force with a shield, we would have been saying how awesome it was. No one would have been complaining at all.
Yeah.
The fact that the shields have been removed for balance, to balance them against vehicles and other stuff, people are up in arms. Get over it.
Not to say there won't be other vehicles in the future that have shields too, So and I think a big part of it, you correct me if you think I'm wrong here, I'm only just thinking of this now, is we know that shields are a thing for base building. But what's to say you can't have a vehicle that has a shield generator, and that's how vehicles get past it. They don't generate a shield. There's another vehicle. Think of the gameplay there. That's why it's there. You've got to have that guy go with you, or you're at a massive defensive disadvantage.
Yeah. Take out the shield generator.
Yep. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Who's next?
That both goes down.
Sub-Zero says, question, if the devils don't spin, what do they do? So the Tasmanian devils are essentially, they're a mammal. They the reason why they're called devils is they make an ungodly noise. And when Abel Tasman first discovered Tasmania, they thought there were demons here. Like they do, like in the cartoon, they make a noise not dissimilar. I'm sure you can YouTube it and find it if you really want to. But they are very savage little creatures. You can clearly see that they have ties to like mainland wombats and stuff like that. And they are very, very aggressive. They have, I'll just say they have the worst mating practices you can possibly imagine. Where the females have to gain a lot of weight or they can die. It's that bad. But yeah, they are very, very loud. They're very, that, what's that saying? The bark's worse than their bite. Their sound is worse than their bite. They're very, like I wouldn't try and fight one, put it that way, because they're just all teeth, like a walking buzzsaw. But they are generally more scared of you than you are of them.
A wombat with teeth, basically.
Yeah.
My impression.
Yeah, that'd be it.
They're chunky, they're solid.
Yeah. Wombat with teeth. And they're black with you can also see links to possums as well. You get those black possums? Yeah. They're kind of like somewhere between a wombat and a possum. So they're black with a white stripe. So yeah,
largest carnivorous marsupial, I believe.
Yep.
So that means they have a pouch and stuff. So
I don't want to show it because every time we've showed a YouTube video lemming, we get the terms of service, and they take us down. But yeah, I will link it though, so people on YouTube can see it. So Lemming was kind enough to Google this for you. Apparently that is a Tasmanian devil sound, so you can see what that sounds like. Right. Next one, please, Algared.
My paint job.
Yep.
What do you believe is holding commercial transportation of people from becoming a...
Oh, you broke up again, Algared. Say that again.
So what do you believe is holding commercial transportation of people from becoming a mission loop?
The AI. They're very heavily AI based because they are AI. And I think that's why things like the E1 were brought in. I think they're clearly going to be the test bed because it's got a smaller crowd of people where than if you do something like the Genesis Starliner or even a VIP transport. If you look at, let's just take the 890 jump, you've got to do all the crew that are there that are additional, like the cooks and chefs and all that. You've also got to do a unique personality of the VIP, and you would imagine doing a VIP, they are going to be very different to everyone else. I think they'll be, this, you know, like a Dalai Lama, an Elon Musk, a little kid, a rock star. They are not going to be your everyday people. So they are outside the normal scope of the person that's just going on the domestic aeroplane type of thing, which is what a Genesis Starliner is, or the business person on the executive E1.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that really is it. Like, yes, Elite did commercial transportation of people, but it was just cargo. It was just didn't change what you were doing. But in Star Citizen, the NPCs are actually going to be kind of physical people.
Now, Algared, I've just realised this video that he linked, I can play it and you can listen to it without the video. So I'm going to play this just real quick. Tell me if you can hear it. Can you hear that or not, Algared?
Yes. One of my favourite movies. What does that sound?
Yeah. I don't know if you guys can hear that. Let us know if you heard that or not. But yeah, it's pretty savage. But yeah. So we can hear. You see, I don't know what to call them, nests or whatever of them. And when I once lived outside of town, there was some near where I lived, and
Ten said they couldn't hear it on YouTube. Probably.
All right. I'm sorry. Well, the link's there. I thought I'd play it anyway.
Yep.
Yes, the Blu-ray 77, the gold ticket for the F8C is available in game. Apparently, Earth from CIG did confirm that. So, and they are available again to purchase at the same price they were before, but they do not come with LTI. They are just the credit version. But actually, that's something we need to check. Is there a CCU to the 300i? Because that would change the game quite a bit, but I don't reckon there will be. I will check though.
Right, so Mike A has a question for us, which we have answered, but we can do this very quickly.
Yep.
Gun Storm versus AA Storm, which do you think is better? I know you don't like much both, even much. We said the AA.
It just got a better feel at it, especially right now. Yeah, just a little bit too much of an Ursa vibe with the other one.
Yeah.
I don't know. Not going to rule out that there's other ones in the future though. Yeah. No, I can't.
Ship could have a version of it could come out, but totally changes that opinion.
Yeah.
But at the moment, the AA does seem to be where it's at.
Yeah. So I can't see a CCU for that yet, but hopefully, maybe if you have the token, it'll allow you to buy a CCU. But yeah, a CCU to the F8 Lemming, because if you could get a CCU to the F8, that'd be kind of cool. Yeah, there's no CCU, but I was hoping there might be, but no, there is not. So yeah, and you gotta get the token.
Trader Gator says, I know CIG mentioned it years ago, but do you think we will ever be able to hire NPCs for various functions on our ships? Yes.
Yes.
100%.
Yep. And I think a lot of people are kind of So the hardest part about what you and I do, Algared, is connecting dots, isn't it?
Yeah.
And one of the advantages is always having a co-host or someone else to do it with. At the very minimum, having one other person is they check you, and that's why some people, when they're on their own, they miss things. Not that we don't like their content, but like sometimes you're like, how did you miss that? And then it throws the entire video off that they're doing or whatever they're presenting. And we've seen it many times now. Yeah. Right, you want to do the next one? Next question?
Stephen Brown's question for everyone. Please let us support you to go to Manchester. If you really want to support us to go to Manchester, use super chats or Patreon.
I think the other part I'd add to that, though, is like someone, I think 2 weeks before CitizenCon last year, actually offered, they worked at American Airlines and they offered me an Algared standby flights. If you could do that ahead of time and get us cheap flights, then, and it's going to be honest with you, though, it's not just the flights, it's also accommodation is a killer. And the real big one for me in Algared is, for some reason, when we go to other countries, the way the Australian dollar works. Now, if we go to the United States, an example, if I buy a sandwich, so say, I'm just going to use a normal amount here, Algared, so say it's a $5 sandwich, right? Because of our exchange rate, as soon as I go to the United States, that's a $10 sandwich. And then if I then go to Manchester or England, it's 3 times our currency. So it literally cost us $15 for a sandwich. So you can see very quickly, if I sit down for a meal at a restaurant and say that cost me $30, that's a $90.
It's not
the same thing.
I think
it's not. It's not quite that figure, but I'm rounding it, and it is still.
I think we're 50 cents to the, or close to 50 cents to the pound, and we're
that's probably good at
dollar.
That's probably good at the moment then. So it's probably, but it does cost double. When my mum was in the States, it was costing her double for food, and she said it was costing triple for stuff in Britain. But that may change when the currency may be a bit different when they're there. But like it's just an extra cost.
When my brother went to England, he says, "Oh yeah, I went into Macca's and had the McDonald's, and said, Big Mac, the prices were all the same, in pounds." And he said it was only when he sat there and went, "Oh, that's pounds. That's like double." It was like, ouch.
And it's weird because you can go to poorer countries and the McDonald's cost the same. It's really weird. It's like, well, hang on, shouldn't this be 10 cents instead of whatever? And I'm going the other way now. So shouldn't it be $1 instead of $5?
If I go to I do this with my students when we're looking at the exchange rate with Asia, and it is significantly cheaper at McDonald's in Asia. Like it's the kids all go, they hit the initial price and they go, "Oh, that's a rip off," and then you go do the conversion. They go, "Oh, we go to Indonesia. That's so much cheaper."
Yeah. I'll just leave it with this then, Algared. Like, if you want to help me in Algared and you've got a way that you think we can get cheaper flights, cheaper accommodation, or something like that, reach out to us. The super chats thing, I know Algared's saying that, but they take a lot of that money. They take like 50% of it at minimum. So if you really want to help us, then maybe we'll set up a PayPal or something like that, and you can just send us some money. But like, it's just not the way me and Algared are wired. We are not give me money. Like, that's just not us. And as I've said before, it's when I look at the money required, I could take that money and spend it so much better else in my life. To put it as an example, that's the amount of money to go there for 4 days or however long we go, right? So at minimum, it'd probably be 4 days. That's a whole nother PC computer that we can use to stream to you guys, that we can use to play the game with you guys, that type of thing. And that's the type of thing we're starting to weigh up. It's like, well, and not only that, if we actually, just put it this way, last year we earned more money on those 2 days of CitizenCon than we earned in the whole of the AIE. And that's 2 days versus 10, right? And if it was all, and that's if it was about and I'm just saying, if it was about money, I shouldn't I be staying home, But anyway, I digress. It's not about the money though. It's the I'm not
the of solving the problems of
I just don't feel right spending it there when I can spend it better elsewhere. And I also don't have a lot of money, and I don't like asking people for money. I just like helping people. Like that's why we started this whole thing, was to make it so people couldn't, make our mistakes. So
yeah, I've got to admit, one of the big things I've got to start looking at is new computer, because my computer is getting old. It is.
Yeah. J-Cut, we do have a Patreon, but again, they take a certain percentage of it. I think it's about 8% they take. So everyone's taking their cut. Even even the money that we do get, the governments take percentages of it as well. So I think it's in the neighborhood of 30%, around that figure anyway. So yeah.
So we do have Patreon, and we do pay an extra fee so that when you join Patreon, you can actually link it directly to your Discord and do stuff. So but yes, we do have a Patreon. We even put the Patreon names at the end of our shows.
Yeah. Probably flick that on real quick. Hang on. Don't say anything. I'll flick there real quick.
There you go. They're their Patreons.
There we go.
So we do have a Patreon. Patreon/Inforunners, I think we'll get you there. But
yeah. I think the problem though with a GoFundMe too is like it's make or break. So say we need to get $1,000, and if you don't hit $1,000, you don't get it. So I don't know. We'll have a look at it, have a talk about it. But if you guys think that's the best way to go, then maybe we will. But I'm just not a person that likes to ask for money. I got my simple little life that I have here in Tasmania, and I just enjoy it. But this is a passion for me in Algared. I don't want to make it a career, so to speak. I don't want to make it a job. Let's put it that way, Algared. I don't think either of us would enjoy it as a job. We enjoy actually spending time with you guys every week. I look forward to this stream every week, and I know you do too.
It is an I find it exhausting. I find it very tiring.
Yep. But I enjoy it. Like, that's why we're here every week with bells on. That's why we get up, drag our butts out of bed at 5 a.m. in the morning, because it's such an enjoyable experience. And I think it would affect the show a lot more if we didn't enjoy it, By the same token, I'd love to be at CitizenCon and hang out with you guys. And we got lots of really cool messages from Paul and Space saying that they, from people wishing that we were there. They love, they love the show, and we love hearing your guys' feedback. And I think for me, the big... I
got to admit, that they were kind of the warm fuzzies that we got from...
Yeah. I think that would be the thing I'd want to go to CitizenCon most, would not be to see the new stuff from CitizenCon, because I can see that online, right? Yeah. But for me, it would be the people you meet. And anyone that's gone to a convention would know that the biggest part is the people you meet. And we've said that the way I'd put it to you, Algared, that you would understand straight away, is when we go to a bar citizen. Like, I went all the way up to see Algared like a year ago now, and have a bar citizen, and it was just the people that were there. You instantly have a rapport with them because they're into Star Citizen, so you've got something to talk about. Where if you go to a normal party or bar, you've got to kind of awkwardly go around the room and figure out what people are into. There's just this natural bang, and you're off to the races, and it's just, there's no icebreaker required.
Yeah. And since you mentioned Bar Citizen, and since we're Australian, I will mention that on the 3rd of February in Canberra, there is a Bar Citizen. So if you're an Australian and you want to go to a Bar Citizen, there is one in Canberra.
How much is accommodation at the moment?
I couldn't tell you because I haven't looked yet. I haven't booked one.
And how many people are going?
Can't tell you because...
We'll talk afterwards. I might consider coming to that one.
It is the first official one. It's the one that,
Well, I've got friends in Canberra because I live there, you see, so I might be able to get someone I could stay with. We'll have to see. And it would be good to catch up with some of my friends, because I haven't been back to Canberra since like 2005, so it's been a while.
Well, I can tell you that currently there are, according to the the way the people say they're interested, 24 have said they're interested, but I do know that people like Bombast and others are looking forward to it. I know Valkyrie will be there. Bombast will be there.
It's going to sound really weird, but apparently they're trying to do a Tasmanian Bar Citizen. And the guy's doing it for sometime in March, but at the moment it's like me and him. And he's traveling all the way from Hobart up here to come. So it might be just me and one guy having lunch. That'd be kind of funny. But I've got no problem with that. Chatting with some other person about Star Citizen for a couple of hours. And I've had other people do that too. I've had people travel from one side of Tassie to come up here, and they brought their kids up, and we just went down to the park and hung out and talked at the park and had a couple of sausages, and then I went home. So it was like this mini bar citizen between two people. So I had fun. It was, and I like meeting people that are into the same shit I'm into. So yeah.
I've done a mini bar citizen where I was going into town and put out onto with the org and said, hey, I'm in town. Anyone want to meet up? And a couple of us met up and went to the Aurora and had a couple of beers and then went home. But yeah.
But I had the same fun with you guys. Like we afterwards, I think me, you, and Croncy, Gentleman Jazz, and yourself, we kind of
and Duck, I think,
and Duck was there too. Yeah, went around and
I think originally we were looking for karaoke.
Yeah, I think that's what they wanted to do. Yeah, yeah. Gone through Chinatown. It was pretty funny, but yeah.
But yeah.
All right, next question.
But usually, but so 3rd of February. Yeah. If you go to certainly on Discord, you can go to the Bar Citizen chat and find that. I'll get a link for the Bar Citizen, and hopefully we might be able to put it into the link down the bottom. For those who are interested in going. But people have said, when's the next Bar Citizen in Australia? Well, that's the next one.
Yeah.
So if you're an Australian, Sydney side, or Valonian.
Do you get many invites yourself to Bar Citizens and stuff? Because I actually got one like a year ago for Philippines. They wanted me to travel all the way to the Philippines to go to one. And they were prepared to pay my flights and everything. And I was just like, and I didn't end up going. But I was like, now, having been to the Philippines, I probably would go. But, again, I didn't feel comfortable people paying for me. It's like, you know.
Yeah. No, I tend to, I can't say I've ever had that offer. No.
Are you going yourself, Luna Maria? Are you going to be, like, I put it this way. If someone was going to give me money to go to CitizenCon, I'd want to know that they're going to be there. Like, I wouldn't want to go there and not meet that person. That would be the worst part. Knowing that they're sitting at home and I'm going, yeah, I'm at CitizenCon and you're not. That. Like, it. Yeah, I couldn't do that. So, yeah.
That would.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I feel like I could feel like I've stolen their holiday or something. That would be awful.
Oh, man. That'd be. Yeah, no way. That would be the. On the poll.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. The last thing I will say about the Bar Citizen, and Algared, I'd like you to speak to this as well, is the virtual Bar Citizen that Griffin and the Soul Citizens and the Yacht Club put on. Highly recommended. If you cannot get to a Bar Citizen, it is exceptionally good.
They're usually very good. I think one of the big things that makes them so good is usually, I don't think there's been one where a CIG person hasn't dropped in on, because it's easy for them to attend.
Yep.
Because it's just a time thing.
Yep.
Whereas physical ones are actually harder to get to.
Yeah. I think the last one I went to, there was a few there. Like Tyler was there. There's at least 4. I can't remember their names right now off the top of my head. Sorry, tiredness. But yeah.
The last one I was at, Brian Chambers was there, and it was interesting because we're talking the mocap studio.
Yeah.
And I'd asked the question: is it, is it similar? Is it better than or as good as Imaginarium? And he says, oh, it's better. And when you think about it, it makes sense because Imaginarium is older. This is a brand new studio, and the other thing that was interesting is Brian indicated that was kind of his background. That was kind of where that was the type of stuff he was into. So
he talked a lot about, he liked spending time with us too, because he was just loved how passionate we all were. And they all talked about how it gave them motivation to keep doing what they were doing. It made it not work for them because they saw how much people kind of enjoyed it. So yeah, that's what I took out of my time with the CIG people at the 2 of them I've been. Oh, no, actually, I think it's 3 of them I've been to now. They do it about every 6 months, but like for me, it's great because I I'm just so remote compared to everyone else, you know. So yeah, it's really such a juxtaposition because Algared and I, when we go online, we feel like we're well known, right? But I can walk out to the street, no one knows who I am, and that's the best part of it. It's this anonymity, you know. So it's just like,
yeah, I'm just a boring teacher.
yeah, you know? Exactly. I love it, you know, like, yeah, you know. So if I need validation or I'm feeling bad that day, I'll just, you know, jump on and someone will want to talk to me and make me feel good, and I just love that. I love that there's this really cool little community that I can go to and just that's my me time. That's my people. And then by the same token, I can just step out of it whenever I want. So it makes it enjoyable for me. And
yeah, so,
I'm grateful of the community we do have. I think that's why Star Citizen is the game it is though. You correct me if you think I'm wrong, but it sounds very cliche. But we do have a fantastic community that follows this game.
Yeah. Oh, that's about right.
What are we up to?
Just scroll down for questions. I got to scroll down again because I went to find details on the Bar Citizen. I couldn't find the address.
Yep.
Without putting up the post, and that would have caused more grief for me. Wild Lee Coyote says,
we did that one. That's the one I answered because it was a first-time chatter on Twitch. So that one is done. Yeah, next one. Wolfo2 says, question, what size missiles do the Idris carry, Algared? That's your area of expertise.
I believe they're size 5. So it has a size 5 missile launcher, Plowshare missile launcher on the front of the end. The P loses that. And I do believe that missiles get added back with a K-Pack, but I'm not sure what the K-Pack has. I've pages, so. But yeah, so I believe it's size 5s on the M, and I can't tell you on the A.
Stephen Brown said, question to all in chat, who else would support sending Algared and Execute to Manchester? I definitely would watch Inforunners as a hobby to me and would love to support. That was the other thing we talked about too, just real quick. Me and Algared talked about, like, if we went, right, and we're trying to figure this out, right, if we went, we would be streaming this. This would not, and I don't know if we'd do it for full 2 days, but we would definitely do at least a 2-hour show, you know, where we streamed from the floor and took questions from you guys, and we went round and says, can you show us this booth? And we would go there, right? So, or not 2 hours, like, so this show that we do now would be an episode at CitizenCon where we go around with you guys and you know, show you the floor, because no one's really done that. That's the thing I don't understand. Like, why has no one directly streamed from the floor and just not gone to one of the panels and just done like an actual live thing? I've never quite understood that yet. I don't know. Maybe it's just quiet behind the scenes when all the shows are on. Maybe we'll find out for ourselves if we ever eventually go. So yeah, I don't know.
So in answer to your question to Luna Maria, there's if scheduling works out, I'll be at the next CitizenCon. Family priorities were why I had to miss the last one.
Yep.
Yeah, for me it's scheduling as well. That for me it's a key factor.
Do you know
scheduling time?
I just remembered something. So you are not actually an Australian citizen, are you?
I'm a bloody bomb.
So what I actually want to, I do want to fund, and I looked into it. It's only about $500. Is in 7 days' time. What is it, Algared?
Australia Day.
And what do they do on Australia Day?
Citizen type stuff.
They make people citizens. So I think, ironically, we should make you a citizen of Australia. And then you wouldn't have to get all this special permission shit that you've got to get to travel. You've lived here for over 50 years. I think it's about damn time. What do you think? You're a slack bastard. You're a slack bastard. That's why you haven't. I know you. You're slack.
Actually, goes back to Paul Keating.
Yeah.
Paul Keating was an a-hole.
And
he made a comment about back in the day about people who were less Australian. And I went basically, F you. So, but these days it's just time. It's not just.
It is time. But I think that's something that you should seriously consider. Like I thought about it about a month ago, and it was between shows or whatever, and I just forgot about it, but it came back to me then, and I think it would be a good thing for you.
It's more of a paper chase than anything else.
It is a paper chase, but you obviously so right now, Algared, you've got to get 2 to 3 months in advance. You've got to get permission to travel, right? It removes all that type of thing.
Permanent resident, I've just got to get my visa done.
Yeah,
my re-entry visa.
But you get what you get what I mean, though. Like, you've lived here for so long. This is your home. You should do that. I think it would be good for you.
Yeah.
And maybe I don't know what it's like for the rest of your family, but I think it's a thing you should do. I don't know. I just thought about it. I thought you should have a think about it. You and I can talk about it later.
Thought about it.
Yeah.
One of these days I'll do it. But it's a paper chase. It's all those bits of yeah.
All right, we'll talk about it later. Sorry to put you on the spot. What are we up to? M Walker 300 says, do you think that the $32 million pledge goal, Aegis Surveyor, was renamed the Reclaimer, or they release a salvage ship called the Surveyor as well? Well, let's go have a look at that stretch goal, because we don't get to do that too much anymore.
Okay, Sebastian, I can answer your question, because he says, I don't understand. Is Algared a felon or something? No.
Yeah, he is.
No, I'm a free settler.
He's a felon. He's a convict. Yeah, that's what it is.
I'm not a convict. I'm a free settler. You're the Tasmanian. You're probably a convict.
Actually, yeah, my relatives came here on the first fleet. So I'm very much.
He's a felon, and I'm a free settler. There you go.
Hey, what's that? Sins of the Father? No, I don't think so. But yeah, all right, let's flick this over real quick. So we've got the funding goals loading up here, and what was the amount they said, Algared? What number was the? Oh, I'll do it real quick. What was it?
What for? What are you looking for?
$32 million stretch goal is what he said. So let's go down to 32 mil. 4 million. We've got a long way to go. Let's do a spin. We went too far. 60, 46. God, I'm learning to count again. 36, 30, 32. Anvil Carrick. No, he means 31. Oh, no, 32. There you go. Surveyor. Aegis Surveyor. The Surveyor from noted military contact Aegis is an industrial quality salvage ship equipped with a reinforced cargo bay, a long-range jump drive, and launch pods for unmanned drones. The Surveyor is an ideal ship for taking advantage of deep space wrecks, tractor beams, floodlights, scanners, options, and docking ports round out the tool chest of this capable utilitarian spacecraft. That sounds like the Reclaimer to me.
Yes.
Yeah, I think that is very much the...
So the Surveyor was... I think the Surveyor was originally the Reclaimer. I think there was a couple of other names they had that were weird.
We've seen that with other ships too. We've seen ships change manufacturers. What was it, the Aegis Terrapin, and it moved to the Anvil Terrapin, things like that. So yeah, but never say never. You could see that name used elsewhere. So what, the Drake Surveyor or whatever. Pick a manufacturer that name may be used again. But yeah, I'd bet some money that that's the Reclaimer, unless you think different.
I do believe it is. It's either. I don't think it's a Crucible, because that was a toolbox, and I don't think that was a Surveyor. But they changed it because it sounded more like an exploration ship, and that was what the Carrack was, and so they kind of, when they brought them out, they changed the names.
I think you can also look at the other ships. So you got the 890 Jump, the Orion, the Surveyor, the Carrack, and the Whole Sea. I look at the company that they're in. That is clearly the Reclaimer.
Yeah.
So yeah. Chris was more with
a bit like the Bulldog.
Yeah. Okay. Rusty Pigeon saying it has got the Surveyor drones. There we go. Right. So yeah. All right. I think that kind of answers your question. Hopefully. Who was the person that asked that? That was M Walker 300. Want to do the next one, Algared?
Yeah. And walk. All right, that's that one. Tom Van Doren says, "Can we build roads as a profession? Eventually, I imagine. Certainly, on your land claim, you'll be able to build them."
Yeah, I think I thought about this a lot. Like, I think maybe this question came about what I was saying about with the tractor and the terraforming. I'd be really surprised. Like, I having played Eco, Algared, I was like, would there be a woodworking profession in Star Citizen? Would there be a job where you go out, cut down trees, and turn it into materials? I think there would be. Now, would it be in high demand? Probably not. Would it, at the very least, be an AI job? Possibly. But I think
it'd be a luxury item.
Yeah. Furniture and stuff like that would require it, I'd imagine. Like, well, we know that they've got different materials on in the interiors of the Origin and the RSI Phoenix. So,
if you need to import both wood timbers for Thurston, well, they don't really grow nice trees on the planet Thurston itself. So where are they getting the nice timber from?
Side note, Grim just says, I ended up getting a Reclaimer at AIE. It's been the most fun I've had in SC so far. Multi-crew that ship. Yeah, the Reclaimer is definitely a really great test bed for multi-crew right now, especially if you're not combat orientated. So, I would have said something like the Connie with the turrets, the Redeemer with the turrets, things like that were probably the closest you got to now, but this is the first real kind of thing. And the reason why I discount the mole, now you correct me if you think I'm wrong, but the longest time you only needed multiple people to crack it. Once it was cracked, it was just everyone else is sitting there waiting for that person to do their thing.
Yep.
Right there.
On a new one, yeah. Yep. Okay, John Ski has a question. Says, I snagged a Javelin on store credit this past sale. Congratulations. Is this the biggest ship they will ever sell? Never say never.
Which is the biggest ship they'll ever sell?
The Javelin.
That's what never say never, but that is what they've said. They have actually said words to that effect. But who's to say 5 years from now they don't make a bigger ship that just happens to eclipse the Javelin? You'll never know.
Will it be the biggest ship we can fly? No. We will be able to find Bengals that have been wrecked and take them over, refix them up. Will the Navy want them back? Most likely. Will the Navy try and get them back? Probably. Will we have to fight for it to keep it? Probably. Would we be able to take it anywhere and not be hated by UEE? No. Your guess is as good as mine how that will go.
Yeah. So there's a few people in both chats emulating what you said, Grim. So the Chick Biscuit says, childhood friend of mine and his father-in-law have all been running the Reclaimer for a week. So now it's such a great multi-crew experience. So yeah. I would, like, awesome Reclaimer, right?
Yeah.
Now start to take that and put it to other professions, and all of a sudden, the whole experience of this game changes. And it's one of the things me and Algared really were looking forward to is this multi-crew experience. And all these people that have been coming out and saying, oh, now engineering's a thing. How annoying is it going to be to run these bigger ships? No, that's what you want.
That's what you want.
The best experience I've ever had, you correct me if I'm wrong here, Algared, is with other people in games.
But I think when you look at the last video we did, our favourite ships.
I've got to interrupt you, sorry. Oztech, thank you for the rating party of 14. I think that's the first raid we've gotten. Well, sorry to interrupt you, Algared. Yeah. Algared, go ahead.
That's a worthwhile interruption.
Sorry.
Thanks for joining us. But when you look at our last video with our favourite ships, there were comments in the chat. Oh, there's no fighters. Yeah. It's not that we hate them. It's just that
cool.
We were looking at ships that we really like.
Yeah.
And
yeah,
they were the ships we really like, and they were all multi-crew ships.
Yeah. Because that's what I'm looking forward to. Like again, that's why those things like the Redeemer. I've had a lot of fun in the Redeemer. You and I have been out in the Redeemer, even with 2 people. It's fun, And I guess if I had to pick a fighter, like if you and I broke it down and we were, gun to the head type of thing, I'd say the Hurricane. I've had more fun in that with you and Badges and whoever else I've taken out than I think almost any other fighter I've been in. And it was because of that little duo experience. It's not the ship, as in it's the fact that I was with my mates,
Yeah, and what I found over the Hornet, over the Cutlass, over the Scorpius, is the fact that you felt like you really had to work together on the Hurricane, whereas in the other ships, as a gunner, I always felt like I was competing with the pilot.
Yeah.
And that was, so that's my experience. Others might disagree, but that's okay.
Oztech gives us an 07 and says 07 chat, and he says Inforunners and Algared, great to see you all. Yeah, thank you. Lemmy, if you're still here, can you do a shout out, please, for Oztech? Maybe I can figure out how to do it. Hang on, I got a cat in my hand. What is it? Hold on, darling. Hold on. So, I've never done this before. I know it's a thing you can do. I'm teaching myself.
So it works.
Yeah. All right, here we go.
Anyway, while you do that, I'll do the next question.
Server command other than /me. It didn't work. Right.
There you go. So
yeah, I don't know how to do shoutouts.
Yes. Did you guys know that already 300 people have crossed? We've already done that one.
300 people. Yep, we did. Thank you.
Stranex. Do you think the Polaris should have received the same bridge location as the Perseus? Is designed currently, or do you believe they might move the bridge from the Perseus location to the front? Polaris.
Thank you, Ash, for the shout out for me. Appreciate it. Use /shout out name. Okay, so it wasn't SO, it was shout out. Okay, cool. Thank you. Appreciate it. We are not Twitch averse or taught in the ways of Twitch yet. We are still learning that. It's all new to us.
I still don't. I always get lost on Twitch.
Can you stop licking me, please? Lick yourself.
My old account actually turns up on Twitch, so I think Space has learnt who my normal Twitch account name is. Yeah. It's not Algared. But he always says, "Oh, hi, Al."
Erahildi. Yeah, Erahildi or something. Yeah.
Erahildi, Elven word. You know, Tolkien-esque.
Now I can tell from the closed eyes she's not going to get down if I don't. She'll go to sleep here.
As it turns to Stranex's question about the Perseus Bridge and the Polaris Bridge, whatever works and whatever they think will work with what they'll do.
Yeah, I told you recently I picked up a Perseus. So if there's I won't tell you who, but there's someone we know that has, and I haven't told you who, right? And you don't know this, but you'll be able to work it out. I know you're savvy enough to know that. But there's a person I know that is trying to get out of the game, and they have 100+ Perseus level ships. So if you are someone that wants a cheap merchantman, a cheap Perseus, a cheap Polaris, or those bigger ships, to give an example, I got my Perseus for $330. So if you are really in the need for a steal, reach out to me or Algared, and we will point you in the direction of that person because they want to get out, and I think it's a win-win. You get a much cheaper ship, and that person gets out of the game, which is what they want. So, bit of a shout out there. Yeah. This cat's name is Sight. I've got a girl and a boy. This is the girl. And the boy, the way you can tell the difference to them, they're both gingers, is the boy's got white on him. The girl doesn't, but she is the more lazy one, if you can't tell. He's more the actiony jock. She's the more daddy cling one. So she'll come and sit on my lap all day if I'll let her. So yeah. She's a lazy bum.
Regardless of ship price, this is from Miff Casey says, regardless of ship price, do you think the Kraken Privateer is a better UEC earner versus the Merchant?
Kraken versus the
man.
I think if you said Kraken Privateer,
that's what he's saying.
Oh, he is. Yeah. We've got 10 shops versus 3. But along with that, that earning is also the sinkhole potential. You know what I mean? Like you're obviously got to put more in to get more out on both of them. So it's logical, isn't it, Algared, to say that?
Yeah, I think it depends on what they do in terms of the clientele that turns up. Privateer, how's that going to work? Can't go down a planet. What can't been shown landed, so it can go down on planets. But yeah, how they work that versus the merchantman's setup, and that I don't know. But on paper, I'd say.
Well, I'm just talking about bigger ships versus. It's a part of that earn down economy. Like a bigger ship will earn more money, but it'll cost more to run because you've got more people doing it. It's just logical. Yeah, you'll make more money on a privateer than you will on a banner merchantman, but it also costs you more money to have the people run it. That's how it works. Risk versus reward. The bigger the risk, the bigger the rewards. It's just it's logical. There's just I don't know how else to put that. So yeah. All right. Next one, Algared. What do we got?
Okay, so Tom Andoran says NASA has just discovered the biggest black hole in the universe so far.
Oh, that's not very nice to say about Algared.
Similar instances, and yes.
Well, would he say that about you, Algared? You're the biggest black hole in the known universe. That's just mean. Why would he say that? What a meanie, huh? He's a mean man.
I'll just shake my head. And answer to the question, yes, we have a solar system that is just a black hole.
Yep. Tampa, something like that. Tampa. It sounds like it's from Florida anyway. Tampa. Is it Tampa?
I thought it was Null, but yeah, I could be. I'm
pretty
sure. Hey.
Oh, you're dropping so much hair everywhere. Let me have a quick look on the star map. I'm pretty sure that it's.
But there is one system that is just a black hole.
Yep.
Tampa.
I'm pretty sure it's
what 10 it's on.
Yeah, Tampa or something like that. Turn this sound thing off. Hang on, where is it? No, sound's already turned off. It's loading. All right, I'll flick us over real quick so we can have a look. But I'm pretty sure. I even know what it is. It's down the bottom left. So let's have a quick look. It's down. There it is. Tamsa. That's it. Tamsa. I remembered the ones I like, Algared.
Yeah.
I know it was Tam something, but I didn't have the rest of it. So it's Tamsa.
Oh, well, it's not Null.
Yeah. And believe it or not, unless it's changed, when I last looked at this, this is actually the biggest solar system in the entire game. Like as in AU. It was huge. If I can get the little control disc thing, hang on. See, it's so annoying how this works. Is it right click?
There I can never remember.
Information. There we go. 304 AU. That's literally 100 times the size of Stanton.
Like we keep saying, Stanton is
bananas. Absolutely bananas.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I always get them wrong. I always think that Null is the system that's got the black hole because it's got nothing in it. But it's because when they first went there, they said there's nothing of interest in it.
Now, I'd argue they call this a single star system, but isn't it not a star? It's a black hole, so not a star. But okay, maybe a black hole is a form of star. I don't know how they classify it. So yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, but apparently there's where was it? There is actual jump gates and planets in this system, by the way. See, look, there's Tampa 1. There's a planet. You've got a jump point to Banshee, so it is a very big system. Tampa 2. So there's planets in it, but you got to also imagine like what is the gravitational forces going to be. Yes, there is a lot of empty space. Someone just said that in chat, but
so that you can avoid being sucked into the gravitational pull of the black hole dying.
Yeah. And apparently to cross this system, it takes a really long time. I was trying to remember. I think it was like 6 hours or something. It's really it's only certain chips are going to be able to do it and stuff.
Question: if you get sucked into a black hole, does that just make a regeneration, or does it mean a new character?
I reckon it'd be really cool if it they did something unknown, like you end up somewhere or some kind of experience or something before you die.
Once it happens once. It's no longer unknown.
Can you imagine? No, but like, what if it's like there's like, how do I put it? So there's like 30 or 40 different outcomes, and you never know what you're going to get when you go in there.
You die, you get teleported. Soul, you get teleported to.
Or you end up it changes your character's life, and so like it changes all your rep or something. So maybe you're a pirate in one life, and then like when you respawn, all of a sudden you've got all this different rep, and you're a part of the UEE military or something like that. Some kind of random thing where you never know what you're going to get. I think would be kind of interesting. The whole Forrest Gump box of chocolate things are good. But anyway.
Yeah.
All right, darling, you're starting to make Dead's arms go dead. Can you?
Past I have a question. They say, without AI being sorted out, will we have animals standing on chairs? Probably not.
Yeah, I think there's a whole reason why we haven't seen things like agriculture and that yet, because they just weren't needed for Squadron 42, obviously. But it's very clear when you start to think it through, and Algared and I have talked about this very briefly. There's a whole another side of the game that we just haven't seen.
Yeah, well, even in the Squadron 42 shorts from CitizenCon, the animals, something that we haven't seen yet.
Again, I think that leads into this year, Algared. More of that multiplayer foundations. Yeah.
And we know that's something CIG want to do. So yeah.
Yeah. Kind of scary to think where we'll be in this time next year, but you know what I mean, like at the end of this year. I think we will all be in a very more, I fingers crossed, I don't want to jinx it, but I think we'll be all in a much better positive place. But I'm still really invigorated from what we saw at CitizenCon, almost 3 months later, you know. How do you feel now a bit of time's passed?
Yeah, like it's going to be weird transitioning from that. When does it come to here? Certainly for Squadron and for Star Citizen itself, I think it's just going to be the same. There's going to be more things are being added and added and added, and
yeah.
But yeah, I think as more comes on, it'll feel quicker.
We did talk about this a little bit in one of our episodes. I'm just reading something someone said in chat, but like if you could absolutely pipe dream for something that you want to see this year, do you remember when we talked about that? What's something?
I think it was with space.
Sorry,
I think it was with space.
It was with space, and I can't remember who brought it up, but it was Titan suits, and I think that's one that would absolutely go off if they started to put Titan suits in. It's definitely a class of vehicle. I think a lot of people have, like, how much talk have we heard about that ever since it was first ever mentioned? In fact, to put this in perspective, the very first episode you and I appeared on this channel was about Titan suits. That's how long it's been.
And that we've been on for 7 years, I think.
And they haven't even, that was where they were announced, and they've never talked about it again. That's how long it's been between drinks.
Yeah, I can remember Josh Coombs talking about, being able to pick up a size 1 chip weapon and clicking it onto the suit, that type of thing with them mulling at the time. But yeah. So yeah, it's trivial. Do you think F8C will appear in Invictus launch week, even though they said it wouldn't be till Squadron 42 bullets? Well, F8C is available now.
Yep. They kind of said they would never sell it again, and they've kind of broken that twice, haven't they, already? So yeah, I think, I don't know, you get me, you correct me if you think I'm wrong, but somehow I feel like they're hurting for fun somehow. Like we're seeing things that they've never done before, like selling ships that they said they wouldn't sell, and
well, F8C version, like, does it bother me? No. Selling it, I just think sell them. Just sell the ships.
Yeah. And
I said it before. I said it earlier. I say it all the time. CIG, just sell all ships with LTI. Get over it.
Yeah. Okay. I just
what with credits or cash on the store page. Give them LTI.
So I actually just checked, Algared. This is the first episode where I believe I turned up and you turned up shortly after. But that's it there. So it's got 1.7k views 6 years ago. That's how long it's been since we talked about. That is a bananas amount of time. Yeah. They also had an interview here with Cameron Wilkie. I didn't know they had that. And I might have to go back and watch some of the older ones again. I've forgotten. It's been so long. So yeah, just so those of you who don't know, we didn't start this channel. This was started by Hayes and Dyson.
Yep. Yeah. And thank you, Stephen Brown, for that super chat. £10. He says, we choose to make a GoFundMe page and execute an Algared to Manchester in this decade and do the other thing. Not because they're easy.
Oh dear, that's terrible. We've also got
JFK there, but yeah.
So we've also got a bunch of subs on Twitch from Hook205, who's given, I believe it's 10. Black Esos got one, Wallon 2503, Nabaza, Commander Thrud, Unification, Nightwatch is another streamer. He got one. Kragon got one. Big Data Boom. I like that one. Kalnor and Valafax. You know where that's from, don't you? Your favorite movie, Algared. Big Data Boom. Have you watched it again yet?
No, I don't know what it's from.
You don't know where it's from?
I said I know where it's from.
Oh, okay.
That's from Fifth Element.
Yeah, good. Right. Thank you, Hook. Appreciate it. And make sure you give a thank you to Hook 205 for those subs if you got one. Appreciate it. Right. Next question, Algared. We're getting around. We've got half an hour left.
CCS? Yep. Salty Dog. Any good CCS to be had with ship sale? Lemming says no.
Yeah, they're basically ones we've seen before, and the chain's not even that great. So again, if it's your first and you're new into the game, yes. If you're older and you've been around a bit, I'd also argue, Algared, and this is I'm going to say it's speculation, but I'd argue you'd probably going to get better ones at AIE or Invictus coming up. Yeah.
Look, always a possibility. So yeah. Rusty Pigeon Gaming, like 249 has been done. It's coming up slightly differently. So it's a bit hard to tell.
It's very blue.
See you guys. It is very blue.
You sit on my glasses if you look real.
Looks like a first time super chat as well. He says, "Yes, please. I'd love to see you guys at CitizenCon in 2025."
Well, I think the reason if we were going to go this year is Algared and I said if we were ever going to go, it's because it was the big one. And I think it's really obvious the more time that goes by. You guys can let us know different in chat, but we're pretty sure Squadron 42 is coming this year. This is the big one we've all been waiting for. And 2025 would be back in America or whatever. But that's not to say we won't turn around and come to an American one at another date. It's just that's the one me and Algared dreamed of going to, wasn't it, Algared? Was the
launch of Squadron 42 was the one I've always wanted to go to.
It's a combination
that's the one I've always referred to as the big one.
Yeah. It's a combination of a journey for you and I, though, isn't it? You know, we've been here for that long.
For me, that's the key thing. When I signed up for Squadron 42. Now I know there are others who said when they started, they didn't even know about Squadron 42, so they say I didn't sign up for Squadron 42 because I know about it, even though they probably bought a pack with the starter, with Squadron 42 game attached to it just because it was there. But but hey,
Grim also says if 4.0 doesn't hit this year, I can see a big sale commemorating that milestone as well. So if it does hit this year, I absolutely they'll do a sale around 4.0. But I think 4.0 is going to be bigger than any of us really expected now. You know, like you take all that stuff coming in 23 coming in. We're like just that alone, that first quarter patch. Me and Algared were talking about this before, but basically, if you just look at that first quarter patch, it essentially doubles the gameplay we already have, and last year doubled it as well. So except for bounty hunting, so I guess it didn't quite double it, but you get my whole point, right? We're getting a lot more gameplay this year because just like someone said in their question, there is now 300 people moving over. You know, like for years we've been talking about this. No one's really working on it. You heard all these reports coming out of leaks that some teams were down to a single person, you know, things like that. They were just...
That means those teams will be able to be thrown out.
Yeah.
Workload.
If you're going from a single person team to a double person team, does that not double the size of that work?
But it also means you've now got someone to bounce ideas off.
Yeah.
Craig, thank you for that $5 super chat. He said apparently the color is based on the amount. This one is green. Love the videos. Keep up the good work.
Really? I didn't realize they were based on...
No, I didn't realize that either.
Well, again, we're not money people. We don't focus on that. So, yeah. What do we always say, Algared? Appreciated, but not always required.
Never expected.
Yeah, that's it.
But appreciated.
Yeah. So...
man, I find it humbling. It's weird. Yeah,
it is weird.
It daggers me, but yeah.
All right.
Ray Loud.
What's
regarding the cyclones?
I'm gonna real quick, Algared. Do you reckon we got half an hour of questions left? Do you reckon I should cut it off?
Let's have a look.
Only half a page. Oh, as I say. All right, I'll give you 5 minutes, right? 5 minutes, and then I'll cut it off. So if you've got more questions, get them in. All right, go Algared. Sorry.
Because I feel like I'm talking gibberish at the moment.
Yeah, he's a bit tired.
So I've got to admit, the colour of those super chats does kind of, there's something there. A bit like when your name gets highlighted, the colour just finds your eye. So Ray Louderback says, regarding the Cyclones, does the MT allow you to carry 3 players? If not, that still gives a reason to purchase the TR.
You get 3 in the MT because you got one in the drivers, one in the passengers, one on the turret, just like the TR. The TR pretty much died and the AA pretty much died because they combined the two. And it's like, well, why would I have 2 independent ones when that middle one's better than both?
And why would I take that one when I can take Storm AA?
Yeah. It's really weird. Like, I actually hope they go back and tidy some things up. There's lots of things like that over the years. Like, you almost wish they'd drop them out for gameplay reasons and then just upgrade people. So, for example, if you have a TR, by the way, you just get an MR now, you know. If you had an AA, you just get an MR, you know, or whatever. What's the other one? The Hoplite. I'm not a big fan of that anymore. Like, it was put in and it just doesn't work.
I think it was put in because the Redeemer wasn't working for Squadron.
No, they wanted it as the drop ship, but what ended up happening, they went and made the Valkyrie. You got to remember, the person that worked on the Redeemer also worked on the Valkyrie, but the Redeemer wasn't in at that point. So they made the Hoplite, and I think the Hoplite was kind of like a stopgap for what they really wanted to do, and that's why we ended up getting the Valkyrie, because the Valkyrie, you can clearly tell they wanted some kind of troop with vehicle deployment thing. And I can see that
when you look at the Javelin was originally intended to have a Redeemer.
Yeah.
So the idea of a Redeemer, you know, and the Javelin was needed for Squadron. So then when the Redeemer was having issues, they were having issues doing it at the time, and then we had the Hoplite turn up.
But also, I don't think you'd actually be on the Redeemer. And you got to remember, when you and I went to PAX in 2014, they had the exterior of the Redeemer. That's all they needed for Squadron 42. They didn't need any more, because you're never going to... You might see it in the distance shooting at something, but that's all it was ever going to be. And it's the same thing with some of the other pieces that came in. Like, they talked about having the exterior of the Polaris.
You were a passenger on that. You would have been a passenger on the Redeemer going to the station.
The original Vandal ships were like that, weren't they? But we now know they've got internals as well. So things do change, obviously. So yeah. Gideon Sanders, membership for 1 month, basic membership. Thank you very much. Appreciate it, Gideon.
So yeah. But is the Valkyrie a better dropship than a Hoplite? Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. So yeah. I don't know. And it's even, you and I have talked this before too, like even lore things, stupid names like 2 things called Liberator and things like that. I would hope that they come in and tidy them up. It is more human to leave them as errors, but I don't know, there's something in me, it rubs me the wrong way. You know,
I can cope with names. It just makes it confusing, but
yeah.
I don't mind if I leave that, but what I do hope they do fix up, you know, if they go back and they do this when it gets pulled up, is fix up those timing. But yeah. No. Anyway, moving on.
Yeah, go for it. Next question.
JL says, I think about the jump point sizes from time to time and the limits of ship sizes that can transverse them. Have we heard anything somewhat recent about this? No.
2013 was the last time I heard anything. It's been a very, very, very long time.
We've postulated on the channel that it's more the stability of the jump point. So it's not necessarily the jump point size itself, but how stable it is, and that determines what size ships.
That was something we looked at. We also looked at metrics, didn't we, as well?
Yep.
You can literally look at the landing pad sizes. The only difference was that once ships hit a certain particular size, there's no need to kind of gameplay limit them, because otherwise you'd have to have a 4th jump point size. So if you just basically essentially put large and capital ships together, they all fall under the large jump point size, and it makes the most sense, because then you could have a small, medium, and then essentially large, and it covers the large and capital.
So everything
ships.
can go for this one can only this size ship.
Yeah.
And if you just say, if the rationale for that is it's stability of a jump point, or it's actually the physical size of a jump point, is Luna Maria, thank you for that 1 month membership on YouTube. I thought you were already a member.
Yeah, I thought you was too.
That's okay. Emma Milestones chat says 1 month, but I joined over a month ago. Yeah, that's what she says. Yeah, so I know you did. That's what I was just saying. I thought you were already a member. I know you were already a member. YouTube. What can we say?
Yeah, that's it.
John Ski has a question. In Star Citizen player experience, is the Star Citizen player experience going to be see a player, attack that player, take his stuff? What will be the incentive not to just be a murder hobo, basically?
I think it's player choice. I think you can be a murder hobo if you want to be a murder hobo, but there'll be consequences for being a murder hobo, won't there?
That's the question. What's going to stop people doing it? And I think rep.
Sorry, real quick, Algared. It's trivial. Subscribe with Prime. Thank you very much for the sub. And we've got 2 first-time chatters. I'll get back to those in a minute after you finish your piece. Sorry.
Yeah. So I think there's nothing stopping you being a murder hobo or just attacking players and taking their stuff. The big thing is the fact that rep is going to have any consequence. And if you get too bad a rep, you're not going to be able to go to stations or go to, and no one's going to want to go and repair you because you're going to kill me and take my stuff. So why would I go and repair you or help you? So
I think the big one you and I talked about was ambulances. Like people attacking ambulances are going to look like they're like the Scarlet Letter almost type of thing. Like you attack an ambulance and people are just going to hang, draw, and quarter. It's like, how dare you? That happens in real life, by the way. People they beat up the ambulance operator because they tried to help the person that's there, and the person there's screaming in pain, so they're hitting them because they're hurting. What? Like it's bizarre.
But you also got the pirates themselves will be cheesed off if you're doing that in their zone, because you're now drawing attention to our area and you're wrecking up our livelihood.
Yeah.
We've got another basic membership from Rusty Pigeon Gaming for membership of 2 months. He says, this also, thanks guys, please make a commercial for you guys getting to CitizenCon. We want to see more doubles you got this year.
Maybe we'll do that for like a joke or something. We'll do it like for April Fools or something. We'll do used car salesman. Yeah, just slap the car and the whole thing falls off. I don't know. We'll come up with something. It'll be a bit of a laugh anyway. I don't know. Love to think about it. I've got 2 first-time chatters. We've got Fat Corsair. That's a nice visual, isn't it? And what about the Zeus Mark II? Have they said anything about the release date? That was around CitizenCon, so it's exactly what happened with the Spirit. It was announced around CitizenCon. The following CitizenCon, we got the Spirit. It's the same thing again with the Zeus. So you'll see those ships around CitizenCon. And
based on what we've seen in the past, no guarantees.
Yeah. And It's Trivial was also a first-time chatter, and he replied and said pretty much what I said. He said, a year. Yep. Right. Algared, next question when you are ready.
Wildly Coyote says, are the spaceports on the planets too hard to identify for new players, especially at night where they are absurdly dark?
Absolutely, and I've complained about it to no end. They have these red lights that you kind of look for. I always thought it'd be kind of cool, like, you know how when you go to the stations and they have those kind of like runway lights that are in space, they kind of need those vertically going down, or in a hexagon or something, going down to kind of show you where to go. It'd be kind of cool if it was like a big hexagon, but a cone.
Yeah,
that would look cool.
I do have.
I've also turned off the bot. So if you get any questions, you're cut off. You're done.
Yeah.
But yeah. All right, Algared. So
I know they do have the lights that kind of spread out, but they are very hard to see. And if you don't have if you're not in the right angle, you don't see them. They need to have something, whether it's a strobe that's flashing or something that just really draws the eye. But that'll come. That'll happen.
All right.
MOQ Mo2 Gotchas says, is this sale because CIG is 3 million compared to the sale last year in January?
Sorry, I missed the question. I'm replying space.
Basically, the question is the sale because their funding for January this year is less than last year?
No, they've had other sales too. Like to be like, if they were really desperate for cash, I would expect in 6 days' time they'll have the Australia Day sale. We haven't had an Australia Day sale for like 4 years, but they did one.
They did one.
Yeah.
But yeah. And then Mo2 Gotchas says, question, did Algared buy the complete 2953 pack? No. Not yet. And when I do buy it, it will be an add-on to an update rather than the new pack. So, but I haven't bought it yet because it is expensive.
Can you do the next question, please? I'm just replying to someone.
Yep. Jack Boom TV says, how will you feel if CIG reworked the Caterpillar to cargo only, no modules, but incredibly increases its capacity?
Say that again, sorry. Oh no, I'm distracted, sorry.
How will you feel if CIG ditch modularity on the Caterpillar, but increase its capacity?
I don't want a cargo ship. So yeah, it'd be a bit of disappointment for me, but like you and I have talked about this a bit, like it's an older ship that clearly is going to have a rework. It's just like you tell me, Algared, an older ship that hasn't needed one.
There isn't one.
Yeah, there isn't one.
You know, and if it's just a if it was just a cargo ship, why do you need all the little sections? And then you'd want them to have environmental controls, and that ultimately is modularity. And so I'd be gutted. I'd like to see different options for how you do Caterpillar. What will be a real killer for me though is if the command module can't separate.
Yeah, that would be the big one. That would be the big one for me, because that's just such a unique thing of that ship. And let's be honest, there's looking back, there is a lot of unique shit on that ship.
Yeah. Well, it's why I've often called it. I know it sounds weird. I've said it a few times. It's weird to call it, but it's the poor man's endeavor.
Yeah.
In terms of the smaller ship, supposedly the cheaper ship, and it will be the cheaper ship. But
do you know what would be really cool? Is I'm just sitting here thinking, like I was thinking earlier about the Syulen variants, and I'm sitting here thinking, wouldn't it be really cool if there was like a ship, and I'm trying to think who you'd do it by, right? And that'll take me a bit, but wouldn't it be really cool if, like, you know, the pod system on the Warden, if there was a starter ship like that, where almost like the MPUV, where the whole thing just swaps off, and so all three variants are the same ship, but just the pod thing changes. So you could.
That was supposed to be what the Warden was, but they've ditched that.
No, they haven't ditched it. It's still there. I just think, but that's a like more of a medium type of ship. You know, it's a heavy fighter. I'm talking more like a. I'm trying to give an example, but there's nothing quite there. You know, almost like the Aurora, how the store box comes off, right? But instead of the store box comes off, it's a completely different module that completely changes the role of the shop. Like a modular, essentially a modular starter. We don't have a modular starter.
We don't have a modular. We have a modular Hornet, which is basically exactly what you're saying.
Yeah, but no, it's not exactly what I'm saying. I'm talking about not a non-combat, a non-fighter starter that is that just has modules that change the role.
In terms of what you're saying, you've got the Hornet, which has the cargo module, the turret, the sensor pod.
I'm talking about a ship where if you don't know what starter to buy, you buy that because it does a little bit of everything. So I'm literally talking about the jack of all trades, master of none. A small version of the Galaxy. Well, that's what all those ships are. The Galaxy, the Caterpillar, the Redeemer, anything with modules is multi-role. So I'm essentially talking a multi-role starter. Yeah. No, there's so many of them. Like, everyone's chucking out names at me, right? I'm reading in chat, reading over there. It's the same. But again, Avenger would probably be the closest we've got, but that's only really 2 roles, and then the others are variant. But I'm talking about one that's like a Swiss Army knife. So you come back to port and you change a module, and it gives you a different role. So if you look at the starting professions now, they really fall around cargo, combat, and then there are outliers like, you know, the C8R, the exploration, the scanning or something like that. But I'd like one that's just, you can tailor it heavily to cargo or tailor it heavy to combat, but you've got to come back to port to do it.
Yeah, well, originally that was what the variants were.
Mm.
You know, that's what the idea of the variants of an Aurora was. You look at the Aurora ad.
Well, I'm not talking variants. I'm talking module.
Yes, but when you look at what the variants are, that was the original idea. You've got your base Aurora, and you add the bits and pieces on it to change what it is. Oh, I want more cargo. I'll put this on it. But the variants were showing us what we could do with our ship. Now that's changed, in a sense, because we've got the variants.
They still talk about modularity being. Maybe that might be what it takes. Then it might be wait for them moving over to Star Citizen from Squadron 42, and we might see a, you know, fingers crossed this year, we might see a starter that leans into the modularity. We also know that modularity was held back on things because they didn't know how they were going to get it to work, hence what the Retaliator is doing right now. So now that rolls in, maybe we might see that this year. Maybe we might actually get them some more modular ships.
Yeah, possible.
Fingers crossed. You know?
Never say never.
Yeah. I know. I just it'd be kind of really cool to have a really cool little starter that, if you don't know what to take. So, for example, what is it? The 4 SCU in the Aurora and the Mustang. So it only takes 3, but in return, you can take it back and put more guns on it, and then it has less guns than whatever one of the fighter ones has. So it's got this juxtaposition: jack of all trades, master of none. Yeah, I think that's.
No.
I'd like
that.
But
I think that's what you saw with, you know, the way they at least originally designed the Aurora to work, you know, because you had the ES with only 2 gun ports.
So that might be what they originally intended, but we never got it. That's my whole point. Yeah.
Yep. I can get what you're saying, but, you know, yeah. Crazy.
You go.
Go for it. Okay, no. Crazy Eye Carl says, is there any ship that you have no reason to like but do anyway? Maybe something that...
Oh, we lost him. Is there a ship that you realize no reason to like, but anyway, maybe something that has grown on you over time?
It has grown on you over time.
Algared, I'll let you take that one first, then. I have to think about that one.
Yeah, I'd have to think about it. I'd off the cuff, easily the Scorpius. It's a cool ship, but to me it doesn't really work, but it's a cool ship.
For me in game, I actually purchased a 400i once, and I was using that for A to B for a while, and I could see, because I wanted to see why people were so taken by enamored by it, and I can see why they were. But it still just has a lack of functionality for me. It looks really cool, and it ticks all these look boxes. But I like to appreciate every ship in this game, because I really do think they are all pieces of art, believe it or not. But I think its time will come. Especially, it's still got a unique gameplay that nothing else has, and that's that climate-controlled rooms. But I think that's a tip of the hat to the future.
Yep, tip of the hat to exploration. It's one of the things that make me think the Aquila needs a rework, and we'll eventually get a kind of Phoenix-sized deck and midsection. But
yeah,
we'll wait and see.
Grim says he loves the 400i. It was one of those ships, but he didn't think he would like it at all. Yeah, I don't love it, but I've learned to appreciate it for what it is. And I think if there's a ship that you hate in this game, I think it is a good thing to understand why other people would like it at the very least. Like, it's kind of like the thing with the Caterpillar Average. You weren't a big fan, but then when you got in it and you start to fly it, you could start to see why I liked it, because it was just different.
Look, I like the modularity of a Caterpillar. You know, I didn't like flying it. I had it. I liked it. I held on to it because of that modularity. I like the idea of that cab being separated. There's lots to like about the Caterpillar. It isn't my favorite ship, no.
I think the other thing is a lot of people talk about how we only talk about big ships, but by the same token, both you and I got a cutter, and we got a Syulen to try out, things like that. So we do go out and try things, and I've still got a cutter package and still got a Syulen package that I picked up. And I eventually will give them away to friends or family.
Classic ship I've got, but it makes no sense to fly and use the Gladiator. It's a ship with great lore.
The feel, though, is
Sorry.
The feel. I love the feel of that thing when you and I own it. It's just this rickety old piece of shit, and it's fucking amazing.
It fires like a piece of crap. It's underarmed. It's got weak missiles.
It's the underdog thing, I think, Algared. It's the underdog. It's just this old rickety piece of shit, and it does ironically feel like a World War II or World War I fighter plane in a weird way that's been chucked into a space game.
It's almost like a swordfish.
If you get a chance to go out with a mate, beyond the Hurricane, I think that would be the second one I recommend, is the Gladiator. There is just some kind of like you're going to get smashed. You're going to die, but it's just something about how it flies and how it feels. Like the landing gear. Like there's no other landing gear I think like the Gladiator at the moment in my book. Like the way that they kind of like articulate into the legs is really cool. Yeah.
I took that out a couple of times for
Lemming just said it's dog water. He literally, that's what he called the Gladiator. Yep. But it's got a feel to, I don't know, did you like the feel of it, Lemming? I'll put that question back to you. So yeah.
It's a clunky old beast, but I took it out to Xeno Threat, and the joy was bringing it back and landing on the station. You've battered and beaten, blistered, and
but the reason Algared and I do this is so you need to know what the bad is so you can appreciate the good. And they will all eventually get their time in the Sunny, and I have no doubt the Gladiator will. I actually reckon being in Squadron 42 will probably see a drastic change in the way that ship is just this year, Algared.
Look, I love it. It's but as a combat ship, it is subpar, and as a torpedo ship,
that's a good one. Aaron Johnson in chat says, "How about your love for the Cuddy Steel?" Because you do actually like that, but you just don't think it's good value, yeah?
I don't like it at all. I think it's an absolute ironic choice. I hate it because it's an overgunned ship.
But it's a very Drake ship. Like it really does speak to Drake. And Paul said that a few times, and I agree with him.
Well, I think you're both wrong, but that's okay. I hate it because Drake are already overgunned.
All right. Tom Van Doren says, question, can you guys sell your giveaway ships with a discount and earn the money by ticket? No, I wouldn't do that.
But overgun their ships already, and this is an overgunned Cuddy.
Okay. You obviously disconnected. No, that's all right. I didn't realize you disconnected, so I just moved on and didn't realize. Sorry.
Yep.
No,
I just heard you talking about Tom Van Doren's question.
So we wouldn't do that. And they're not our ships. They're kind of the ships they're generous enough to give to you guys as our community. I wouldn't feel right doing that.
I wouldn't.
Yeah,
certainly not do that.
Well, we've heard of other content creators giving them away to fund their own pockets. So I don't know if you heard about that.
No, I hadn't heard that.
Certain person was doing a paid for stream for another game and doing giveaways on that stream to encourage people to come and watch his paid for stream. That's pretty dodgy in my book. Yeah, anyway, I'll tell you.
That's pretty rude, I think.
Yeah,
yes.
Yeah, I'll tell you who it was later. Wolf002 says, does anybody know if there's an IRC today? No, there is not. It'll hopefully next week. Fingers crossed.
That's why we've got a sale.
Yeah. Everything
not
must
necessarily
go.
the reason why, but that's what we were saying earlier. But hey,
Jackaboom TV says, what if CIG reworked the Vulcan to snap into the Reclaimer top or bottom rear? It would be the Vulture. Algared?
Yeah, we're not going to do that.
No. I like the name though. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Ozetta says, question, good morning guys. Has it been any additions to the game due to the Layla Addison being voted into power? Also, will you guys be going to the ACT Bar Citizen? Well, Algared, I think you can kind of already answer those.
ACT Bar Citizen.
Yep.
Um,
And Lely Anderson,
Yeah.
I don't think that's had any effect yet, has it?
No, yeah, we have.
Oh, we
That's
have?
why we've got regen tech.
Ah,
That's
okay.
why it became popular. It was available.
Ah.
It was only being used in military. She pushed it forward to be available to everyone.
Mm.
So there you go.
Yep.
That's what Arnie Addison's input for tech.
Yep. Okay. Blue Rage 77. Hi, Inforunners. Question: is the gold ticket for the F8C available again? It is right now. Yes, you can go in game. It's in the loot table. You can grab it and pick up yourself. I think people said it's to the 29th this sale. So, yeah, you'll be able to. I don't know if we'll do a guide on that, Algared. I'm starting to think there's not enough there for a guide unless you feel different.
Unfortunately, as much as I'd like to say yes, there's enough for a show, I don't think there's enough to really do a show.
Well, we could literally point people back to almost the AIE, couldn't we? And then go, oh yeah, and then add the whole C. Like that's it, you know. So yeah. Doc Platypus says, have you heard any update on the in-game equivalent for multiple game packages?
No.
No. I haven't heard anything.
The last was like 2014.
Yeah.
2015.
Which was just that you can have NPC or you get extra character slots. Yeah.
And along that, they talked about those character slots being the ones that would enable agent smithing.
Yeah.
But it's all up in do I think it'll still be there? Yes, I hope so. I've got several game packages deliberately acquired for that purpose. Yeah. And we're not talking game packages on alt accounts. We're talking about game packages on the same account, which is where that comes. Blue Rage 77.
Yep.
Would you guys consider creating a video with the ideal fleet for a solo player?
Fleet for a solo player? I think that's just one big ship, personally, unless you think different. Hey, Rainbow.
If you're a solo player, I think that will come down to how many NPCs we can control and how much we can automate a ship.
Oh, we got a raid. Sorry. Thank you, Rainbow Regular, for the 36. I was like, why is Rainbow messaging me? And then I realized what it was. Yeah, sorry. I'm not up with this Twitch stuff. Yeah, hey, Rainbow. Nice to see you again. We were talking the other day.
Thanks for joining us.
Looking at joining me in Expat and some Eco. So, yeah, I think I should put that out there again. If you're interested in playing Eco or you've got any interest in a game that's even remotely similar to Star Citizen or playing with people that are cool from this community, reach out to me or Expat or anyone that we've mentioned and they'll help you get in. Because we're gonna do an Inforunners server again, and we'll call it the Star Citizen Eco server or something like that. And if we only get like 20 people in or something like that, but it's just really cool to work together. And again, that multi-crew that you were talking about, Algared, before, that's kind of what Eco is, but you're working as a town instead of a ship. Sorry, Algared?
It's making you work to develop a town and a settlement so you can actually beat the asteroid. Yep. So that solo ship idea, it really does come down to the size of a ship, how much we're going to be able to automate it, how many NPCs we're going to have, because that will have an impact on that. And we're talking just not bringing in friends to be on the ship as well.
Yeah.
But it also ties into what gameplay that person likes. If they like mining, what's the point in going salvage? So it really will tie into that aspect as well. Afro Snowman, thank you for that $5. Will either of you be at Canberra Bar Citizen? Or are both of you just contemplating it? Would be awesome to see you there. I will be there.
I will have a talk to Algared about it, and I'll have a look at flights, but I can't promise anything until I've checked the finances. Let's just put it that way.
I do know that Gentleman Jez will be there. Gentleman Jez is one of the guys who usually does organise the Bar Citizens, and if you turn up early, he is also doing a War Memorial version on that day. So on the Saturday morning.
What he's doing a Bar Citizen at the War Memorial.
No, he's visiting the War Memorial.
All right.
So
a little bit of trivia for you. When I lived in Canberra, I lived on the same street as the War Memorial. I lived on Anzac Parade. Literally, it was like 5 doors down from my house. Crazy, huh? Anyway.
Last time I was at War Memorial, which was last year, on a school excursion, they were doing major refit, major rework. So it's quite different. But yeah. wonder if they're finished.
Yeah.
So yes, I will be there. Always like to get to them if I can. So yep.
Yep. Right.
Tom Mandurin.
Yep.
You guys have created the following by helping. You guys have created a following by helping people, and therefore it would be awesome if we can create a way for one or both of you guys could make it on. Thanks for your content. Thanks for saying.
Yeah, that's great to hear, but not what we do. Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
sorry, I'm not very good. I'm not very good with praise. I think Algared's a bit the same too. But it's nice to hear. It's great to feel. Makes me feel good. But yeah.
The desire is, sorry, we both want to go.
Yeah, we both want to go, but we. It feels a bit weird to ride other people's backs to get there, type of thing. So yeah.
That's right.
What are we up to? Henny Pen, you said on YouTube video that you both pick up a Perseus for steep discount. Congrats. Assuming you use CCU chain, how long did it take you to build that chain? I didn't do a CCU chain. I know Algared did, but I got mine from someone that's trying to get out of the game. And I looked at it and went, yeah, that's less than half price. That's what I reckon it's worth. I'll buy that, and I was happy with my purchase, and yeah.
I used old CCUs I had.
Yeah.
I used not a referral token. I used my Gladius and Guns Gladius and CCUs I had. So it didn't take me long. But some of the CCUs I'd had for, I think they were all $0 CCUs even. So
if you do want a cheaper Perseus, Polaris, or Banner Merchantman, get in touch with me, because the same person is trying. They've still got 100+ of these ships they're trying to get rid of. So they're a big whale trying to get out of the game. So if you want one, I've already had 2 people reach out to me. If you want one, reach out to me, and I'll try and link those prices off to you. But they're not ships above that or anything. It's just those ones, and you would have to upgrade yourself off those. So Banner Merchantman, Perseus, and Polaris. So yeah, 100+. Yeah, 100+. I was like, are you serious? So yeah. Anyway, all right. The Rusty Pigeon. I struggle with the thought of clouds of what will be this year's Progress the PU. How do you guys feel that the changes in stuff, the P thread working on the P? So it really confused me. There was a lot of emojis in that question. Well, considering going from a shadow group of people to 300 people, I think you can actually get some shit done. What about you, Algared?
I just think it's just shows the progress of the game.
Absolutely. Yeah.
More people. I think if they're artists, that's going to help build ships.
Yep. It will be majority artists, because all the essential people that are required for Squadron 42 will still be there. And again, once the art is done, like that's what that feature complete thing means. Most of the people that are going to be on the other game are people that making sure the game plays properly. So there'll be a few designers there, but most of the designers still would have moved over as well. You'll have QA on it, getting rid of the bugs, and you'll have most of the people will be QA and programmers, because they'll be playing it and trying to refine it and fix all that stuff. You don't need artists for that unless there's some kind of weird bug with the geometry or whatever, and they can just literally fix that, what they're doing, and then go back to other work. So yeah, most will be programmers, and QA would be the meat of it, I'd assume.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think there'll be, some programmers who are there making sure that the tech flows across properly and smoothly.
Well, that's what most bugs are. It's taking people's art and using it to do things. That's fundamental what games are. So the code is what makes it. 90% of what you see in a game is code that you just will obviously never see,
Yep.
And if they do their job properly, it's like, it's one of those jobs that is kind of outside out of mind. If they do their job well, you never knew they were there. It's kind of like sound, Algared. You know how they always talk about the sound, how you don't notice it when it's there, but when it's not there, you really do notice it. It's one of those things as well. Right. The Rusty Pigeon also says, the speculation of the SC 1.0 release in 2025 is a rumor. I think you guys mentioned that there was a law in the UK that CIG needs to deliver a 1.0 game before the date, right? Yes, but that's Squadron versus Star Citizen. I don't disagree that Star Citizen could be out by 2025, because if you think about where the state it's at, you're essentially looking at 2 years of game development by the end of 2025, right? And if you look at what they've got there now and what's about to drop in the very next patch, if you see that continued momentum every quarter for 2 years, Algared, you do the math in your head, I can see quite a good game we could be playing.
Yeah, I think Squadron 42, not Squadron 40, I think Star Citizen is out already, because we're playing it. We can do it. The question is when we get, I think the massive growth is going to be when we get the ability to jump to other platforms, and that's when the ball game changes.
I think the tipping point is when we start to see people playing this game on a really regular basis. Now, I know a lot of people could turn around and say, I play this game every day, but you don't. I don't know about you, but I don't know many people that play this game all day, every day. And I know there's a lot of people that struggle to stream the game. I know that I can't play. Like, I probably play for 4 to 5 hours, and if I play my biggest session and I'm done, there's just not enough gameplay there to sustain me. And most of the time when I have those big gameplay sessions is when we're in a bunch of us. Like it's I'm getting the stuff off other people type of thing. And I just don't think there's enough gameplay.
I'm certainly, if I'm out and I'm doing salvage or I'm doing just flying, I might be there for 3 hours. But I never feel right streaming it, because I know if I start talking to people, I'll just stop. That's just what I do. I just can't multitask in that sense. So
I have closed the question bot, so we're not meant to be doing any more questions, but we do have a first-time chatter here, so I'm going to answer it. So it says, Praying Dung Beetle says, do you know what if there are any plans to prevent the duping of pledge gear and flares once the cargo elevators will bring item insurance? So the duping of, I think anything like duping will be taken care of. It's pretty obvious that they're going to want to clamp down on cheating and duplication and things like that. But they've also stated that they do eventually want to get that pledge store type thing in. So I think what essentially most pledges are is access to a store. So if you lose an item, you can just buy it again. So in a weird way, it's official duping, but you're paying credits. Is that a weird way to look at it, or?
Well, it's a sinkhole.
Yeah, it is a sinkhole too, because you have to rebuy them. So yeah, you're essentially, and I think that's how it should be. If you're buying the skin or whatever it is, I think if you lose it, you should be able to rebuy it at a shop. You've essentially purchased access, haven't you? So yeah, again, we'll see how they want to do it, but that seems to be the way they're going. So yeah. Daz Wheelie Cool. I like how he's written that. Daz Wheelie Cool. So his name's spelled D-A-S, and then Wheelie is W-E-A-L-L-Y, and then cool. That's Wheelie Cool. Like he's like a Jackie Chan. No, he's like Jackie Chan. That's really cool. Anyway, all right. He says, where will CitizenCon be? Algared, I'll let you take this one.
Manchester is where we've heard it is. It's where I believe it is. There have been rumours they may be looking at. There had been originally they said Manchester. There were rumours they were going to look at America or Canada because of pricing. Since then, I've heard Manchester again. So we are still believing Manchester.
Yeah. I don't know. Where would you rather go for a holiday, Algared, if you had to go somewhere? It'd be Montreal or Manchester for me, I think, if I had to pick between those two select locations.
If it was a choice of Montreal or Manchester, I'd say Manchester, because that would mean I could tie in a lot of the history sites I want to do in Europe. Whereas Montreal would be, if I wasn't going down to the States, it would just be visiting a nephew in Canada as well. So.
Do you reckon when the game comes out, we'll actually see them go outside the what do you call it, the developer bubble, so to speak? Do you think we would ever see? I'm just going to throw one out there, like a Japan CitizenCon.
I'd like to think that.
Yeah, I'd hope so. Eventually,
I'd like to think that, because I really do still want to see. I'd love to see an Australia
Yeah, I do have a both Montreal and Manchester, though, I'd be happy with either of those. I've got things I could do in both places if I went there. So yeah, for me, yeah. Right. Gideon Sanders. By the way, I have a question. Does Algared have birds? I keep hearing birds from time to time when I was speaking. Yeah, Algared, you got some birds? Yeah, he's got some hot birds around.
No, I don't have any birds. But I can occasionally do hear the occasional magpie.
Mm-hmm. It's just where he lives. They have in the areas. They're just the native birds.
And the magpie warble is great. I don't know if that's what you hear.
I hear them sometimes. I also hear the dog that you've got as well sometimes.
That's usually the neighbour's dogs. Probably
Yeah.
And I'll need to get soundproofing. So.
Yeah. Some of those little soundproofing pedals. All right. Fret Wizard says, all right, gents, what software do you use for tracking your CCU shades? I'm currently using CCU Game, and it's a bit of a clunky and seems to leave large gaps where I'd prefer to speculate. Agrid's going to answer for me because he knows what I use.
I just use, you use Lemming.
Actually, well, yeah, if I'm not using Lemming, I use nothing. I just do all mine in the thing. And I get back in there and I start using it again, and then I remember what they were. They come back pretty quickly.
I haven't used CCU chain for ages.
Yeah.
I used to do CCU since I got rid of $0 CCUs. It kind of killed all my chains. And
my main problem with CCU Game and others like HangerLink is you can't, and it'd be a great feature, but if you've ever programmed tic-tac-toe, there's different levels of AI. You've got the first level, the second level, but as soon as you go to the third level, every level you do it doubles. And so what I've suggested to both Starlet that's doing HangerLink and the guy at CCU Game is they need to make it so that it looks at, you put in the ships that you want. So say I put in 5 ships, and it actually uses all your CCUs to make the cheapest for all 5. And they all both went, oh, daunting, and just went, no. But that's what it needs to be. Because if you can't go in and put an entire fleet in and go, bang, make me that fleet, then you got to do it by hand. And as soon as you're doing it one at a time, I found it easier just to do it manually myself. Because doing one's not that hard, right?
Yeah.
The advantage
of Excel.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's what most people use. Or the Google Docs version of Excel is a popular one. And the other one, the thing about CCU Games, it does connect to the shop, and I believe HangerLink does that as well. So if you're wanting to kind of declutter it, I guess they work, but until they have that fleet thing in, yeah, I just no. Abby, first time chatter, 1002. There is no ISC today. Apparently it's next week, Abby. So yeah, sorry about that, Abby. It wasn't our fault. Blame Jared. Send all your love and hugs to Jared. Yeah. So
just say that's why we get sale.
Yeah. Pretty much it. Right, down to the last 5 questions. Sorry.
Yep, that's really cool. We're a CitizenCon Manchester. That's where we believe. Yes, and that's from That's Really Cool.
Yep, he said it again. So he's just asking his question again. We will answer your questions eventually. There you go into a big bot list. Yep. Right, Smoky Clouds 8 says, does upgrading to 64 gigabyte of RAM improve smoothness of Star Citizen, or does RAM speed? It's RAM speed. I only have 32 gig, but my RAM flies like the clappers. I spent probably double of what you would normally have to pay for 32 gigabyte of RAM, but I got the really fast up. I think it's like CAS 14, and it makes the biggest difference.
It's the speed of RAM that makes it.
Yeah, it's not quantity of RAM anymore, it's the speed. And if I can do all this content creation on 32 gigabyte, there's no reason why I see these people buying 64, and I'm like, you've spent more for 64 than you did for the 32, but all you need is the 32.
I think if there's any any blocks you get, it more at the moment still the block, but the bottleneck at the video card.
Yep.
Graphics of them more.
You can also do common sense things too. Like I get on my mom or some older relative's phone, and you swipe, and they've got 28 apps open, and they're running while it's running slow. It's the same thing on your PC. If you've got 10,000 things open, it's going to run like shit. Limit what you have open. Close a few things down. If you're just playing Stars as nothing else, make sure everything's closed. Look in your system tray. See what things are running in the background. Computers I fixed in the past, Algared, and you would have seen this too, is someone turns on the computer and they've got 4 virus scanners, they've got all this shit, and they're wondering why it's running like shit. Don't have things turn on startup. If you don't open Skype every single time you turn on your computer, don't have it turn on startup. It's pretty common practice. So go through and check your system tray and see what's running in the background that you're not using all the time. I use Discord every time I turn the PC on. Do I have it auto start when I turn on the PC? No, I don't, because it slows it down when it turns on. Auto start is the shittiest feature known to man. The only thing you want to have turn on is the things that are essential. So like maybe your mouse or keyboard or something like that if it has a specific driver, or your headphones. Essentials only on startup. Everything else manually started. That's my biggest tip I can give you for hardware. Algared, anything you want to add to that or no?
That's much it.
Yeah. Right. Maxol TV says, question, when IC should come back next week, hopefully. Fingers crossed.
Yep.
Dog Platypus says, oh, Dog Platypus. Oh, okay. Do you think there are 3 variants discussed in the PU monthly report should be the Zeus ships, since one of them was grey box during CitizenCon? I'll have a quick look at that, Algared, while you do the last one, if you want.
I haven't read the monthly report yet, so I can't tell you.
I did have a look at it, but I didn't take note. Oh, God, now it's not loading. Decided to get really slow on me. Oh, there we go. Monthly report. I assume he's talking about the November one. Let's have a quick look.
November one. I did see that, but I haven't delved in.
Where is it? Ships. I'm assuming it's under ships. Narrative, level design, graphics, effects, gameplay, story, features, gameplay. Let's just narrow it down to ship. Let's look at all the variants of ships. So AI tech on the AI team involving functioning involving allowing ships to move along the splines. No. Star maps currently being polished. There were also development using minimap, use star map, blah 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 blah. Nope, that's not it. No, there's no other variants of ship. Whereabouts are you talking about? If you're still here, Mr. Doc Platypus? Platypus, can you tell us whereabouts you're talking about? I'll come back to that if we've got time. Last question is from Nexor.io, who says, what is the point of the Zeus line of ships instead of a ship like the Corsair? I would say the Corsair is for 4 people, and I would say that the Zeus is a medium ship, not a large ship like the Corsair, so it's for less people, would be the basics of it. Algared, would you?
Yeah, it's the same reason. Before the show, we were talking about the similarity of a Zeus to the Connie and the difference. And in some sense, I was thinking Zeus was almost like a new version of a Connie. It's an updated thing, and yet it's got less people and it's a smaller ship. It's the same argument.
Wait,
it's a smaller class.
God, I clicked on the same thing twice. It says monthly report. Okay, so apparently it's this one, but when I click on it, it doesn't go there. It goes to the monthly report.
Yeah.
No, they're saying that it's the wrong monthly report. Am I on the right one? That's Squadron 42. So I'm in.
But January won't come out yet. We've only got November.
No. That's the right one. Okay, all right. So we'll go. But it's got the same text, Lemming. So I'm just confused. It's all right. I will look at it. So the AI ship side, the team move, the extended functionality, art ships. Here we go. Towards the end of the year, the RSI Polaris work started on the gold standard pass for the Aegis Saber Raven, which includes a compass pass and a dashboard. Hey, that's pretty cool. Good news. That thing hasn't an upgrade in ages. 3 new variants were worked on. 1 entered production. Another continued through. Wait. 3 new variants of the Saber Raven? Yeah, it's a bit weird. The way that's worded is like, what? 3 new variants worked on. 1 ended production. Another continued through grey box, and the last one progressed into LOD. Well, we already know that they had it in white box with the Zeus. 3 new variants. 1 ended production. Another continued through grey box. The last one progressed into LOD. That could be anything.
They could be talking about the Saber, but I don't think so.
Well, put it this way: wouldn't they say the Zeus entered production because we know about the Zeus. I'm more likely to think that this is a completely new ship we've never heard of because they don't talk about it.
Although I would expect them to have said, rather than say variant.
Oh, wait. But this is from November.
Yeah, November, December's.
So it could. It could be the Zeus because it's from November.
That's the November, December monthly report.
But then but we knew about the Zeus's by October. Yeah, I'd say it's something new. I don't know. That's a tough one because you're going back in time there, and what if they wrote this in advance, but it just never came out? Oh, I muted the sound. Shit, how did I mute the sound? What? You guys can't hear me? Never mind, it was me. Oh yeah, thanks for telling the entire stream I muted the sound. Appreciate it. Praying Dungbittle, he said he muted his computer and thought it was us. I love it. Yeah, it's our fault. Thanks, mate. Appreciate it. Long time. Love your work. Yeah, good job.
All right. I don't know about you, but I'm done.
Yeah, Agri wants to get out of here, I can tell.
I've been struggling the last 10, 15 minutes.
All right. No, it's fine. It's fine. Who are we gonna rate today? I'll make this quick. Let's have a quick look. Who we got here?
Paul Space.
Is Paul on, is he?
I don't know.
No, I don't see Paul. We've got Mr. DJ Note on, who doesn't do that all the time anymore. There was someone here I wanted to raid before, but they've now dropped off, so they're not raiding anymore.
Oh
well. Let me have a quick look. Let's. How about we do Angry PC Tech? How do you feel about Angry PC Tech? He's doing the coin. Oh, we did it. We only did him the other week though. That's true. It's true. There's just no one else I see there. I guess we could just do Loken, but Loken's right at the top. You know, he doesn't need help. Trying to find someone I know. We could also do Arc VR. He's a guy we know, British.
Loken when do Loken and you ask him to get back to us and tell us when we're doing here, when he's available for them.
Yeah. Tell Loken to get back to us on when we're doing the tier list show because he hasn't answered my questions. Like, let him have it. It's gonna make noise.
Call him a slacker.
Yeah, so call him a slacker. Like, say, why haven't you got back to the boys on when we're doing the tier list show? So that's what we're gonna do. Paul's having a bit of a difficult time. I don't know if you guys knew this, but his father's unfortunately passed away. So we're not going to give him a hard time, but we're definitely going to give Logan a hard time. Because it looks like Paul might not be able to make this one. But yeah, so let us get him to get back to us on a date. We're thinking sometime in around middle of March at the moment. March 16th is the date that I was given. So yeah, see if he's available for March 16th and tell him to get back to us in the Inforunners private chat.
Call him a slacker.
Yeah, he's been a bit slack. So we'll set that up. Thank you for passing that message on, Twitch folks. I really appreciate it. And we'll see you guys next week. Yeah, but also keep in mind the possible time change too, because Algared's work stuff. So yeah. All right, Twitch say goodbye to YouTube. YouTube say goodbye to Twitch. See you guys next week. Live long and prosper. Right, with that, we'll send them on their way. Bye. They're gone.
They're gone.
They're out of here. All right, me and Algared will have a show for you once he wakes back up. For the weekend. Don't forget to like, subscribe, ring that notification bell, and thank you to everyone that went extra mile on the end of the video on the credits on Patreon. If you want to help me and Algared out, get CitizenCon, feel free to reach out. If you want to look at a cheap Perseus, Polaris, or Bad Merch Man, reach out to me as well. Right, other than that, he's been Algared.
He's been Execute. Take care.
See you, citizens.